Imagine waking up in another world, no coffee, no internet, and surrounded by people who solve everything with punches and swords. Now imagine you're Kim Gun, a tough gunslinger, a professional hitman with perfect aim, a cigarette always hanging from your lips, a scar on your face, and a soft spot for a dog that looks like a meatball with legs. Welcome to Murim, where every bald old man thinks he's a martial arts master and every duel ends in therapy or an explosion. Here, bullets and blades fly like bad stand-up jokes, and the fate of the world rests on a man who just wanted to buy snacks for his dog. Amid gunfights, crazy sects, and rituals no one understands, our savior wants only one thing: to go home with his little dog in one piece. But until then, he's turning this world into a shooting range, full of sarcasm, gunpowder, and a touch of deadly cuteness. Our story kicks off with someone crawling out of a dark spot. This person looks up and says the weather's pretty nice. Lighting a cigarette, the main character, sporting a scar on his face, hears someone asking where he popped out from. A blonde dude is crawling on the ground asking if he's leaving, totally clueless about what he's done. Breathing heavy, he says another guy's coming to take him out. Our main guy stays quiet, while the other one insists there's still time to say sorry. In a serious vibe, the protagonist fires a shot, saying the guy on the ground is way too loud. Out of nowhere, a tiny puppy barks next to him, grabbing his attention. The chubby pup rolls around on the ground, looking super cute. With a grin, the older dude asks if his little buddy missed him. Looking down, he wonders if the puppy's hungry and suggests they grab a bite, revealing his name is Kim Gun. As he walks away, it's revealed his codename is Battle Demon, the top assassin. He strolls past a street where a kid asks if he can skip school, and the mom says no, promising a treat if he behaves. Our main guy watches the scene and thinks about getting a snack for his little buddy. Suddenly, a spam message about Murim pops up on his phone, making him think it could be a new mission. A bit later, the sun shines down on a regular convenience store. He squats down, asking what his pup wants to eat, and decides to buy everything in sight. Out of nowhere, someone next to him says they need a second. Confused, our main guy wonders what this mumbling is about. The dude talks about work, and Kim asks if he's grumbling or chatting with him. Then, the standing guy confirms that yes, catching Kim's attention. The assassin, with hair in his eyes, says it's a perfect time to take him out, just as planned. Soon after, he waves goodbye to number one, who can only curse after that. Suddenly, a shot rings out while our main guy thinks this world is wild for dreaming. He says it was a pointless death, but then contradicts himself, saying he got taken out in the end, but he'll still get revenge on that fool in hell. Drifting into darkness, he wonders what'll happen to his puppy. When he opens his eyes, he sees his cute doggo. Suddenly, a shiny bald head of some random dude pops up. Our beloved gunslinger jumps up, headbutting this strange figure that just appeared. With his hands on his head and totally confused, our main guy asks if he just kicked the bucket since he's sure he got shot in the head. Worried about his puppy, he feels relieved to see it right by his side. Suddenly, the monk stands up, saying he finally woke up, after ages. With a hand on his nose, the bald dude claims the savior has finally answered his call. Looking around, our main guy notices a bunch of other people shouting that they believe in him. Completely baffled, he freezes, questioning all this noise. Then, someone steps in front of him, saying it's a pleasure to meet the savior. This same person introduces himself as the first elder of the Dai Dak of the Bloody Brotherhood. Our main guy stares at him, questioning this savior stuff, since he has no clue what's going on or how this works. But the bald dude just says they have a mission. The young man must conquer the Murim world. The gunslinger looks up, totally lost about this conquering thing, and so he wonders where he even is, after all. Soon after, Kim realizes this isn't the world he knows. In fact, it's a place called Murim in another dimension that he's supposed to conquer. Apparently, he got summoned, but it's still super weird. He stays quiet, watching all those people staring at him with big smiles. Soon those smiles fade when our hero says they're all nuts. Desperately grabbing his phone, he wonders why he was picked and realizes there's no signal here. Standing up defiantly, the assassin asks to be sent back before he starts dropping some serious words, but is shot down by saying he's already doing that. Then, he insists he needs to find the guy who took him out and must go back, confusing the elder, who thinks the man isn't his savior. Our main guy says he isn't, and that the elder seems to have lost it, telling him to go back home. Suddenly, laughter fills the air. Someone comments on being proud of the protagonist's attitude, saying this is how a true savior should act. Looking back, he sees someone coming up claiming that, in fact, the elder isn't bald, but has just never had hair. Everyone gasps at the newcomer's savage burn. The elder says he shouldn't have talked to him like that. Sure, here's the improved version of the text, while keeping the same line breaks and structure. Soon, the new character rolls up in front of the protagonist, saying he shouldn't be so insensitive and needs to get his head straight. If he's not careful, he might end up biting the dust without even knowing it. Thus, the leader of the blood cult, Sa Hyokyung, makes his grand entrance. The gunslinger grins confidently, claiming it's the old dude who's messing up, since they're the ones who summoned him. Standing tall, he warns the elder to watch his mouth, because one slip could mean death at the hands of the #1 assassin. The elder rushes in, begging the savior not to mess with the cult leader. But surprisingly, the guy with the tied hair says it's all good and that he'll handle this. Then, he throws down a challenge. If Kim wins, he gets to be the cult leader and can do whatever he wants. The elder tries to drop some wisdom, saying this is a terrible idea, but gets cut off by the gray-haired man. The gunslinger insists he's not looking for that, just wants to go home. Then, out of nowhere, a heavy pressure makes him shut up. With wide eyes, he's totally lost on where it's coming from. Soon, he realizes the danger when he sees the elder ready to unleash hell if he loses. He thinks he's never felt such fear of death, even as an assassin, but tries to chill, since the guy in front of him is just an old man. Called the ghost of the fight, he claims to fear nothing. When asked if he's ready, the protagonist shoots back that he doesn't need to prep for an old dude. The guy in front of him smirks, saying they'll see how cocky he is, and Kim fires back, saying this isn't a battle of words, giving him the chance for the first hit. In the distance, the elder nods, saying he won't back down. Then, he vanishes in a blink, like a whisper in the wind. Quickly, the protagonist's face goes pale as he realizes. Before him, the old man appears like a bullet, ready to throw a punch. That fist, heavy as a wrecking ball, comes flying at him. Soon, the impact slams into him, sending him flying backward. The explosion of energy from the hit smashes Kim against the wall. Upon crashing, he wrecks the place, which cracks under the force of the blow. A massive explosion goes off, showing just how strong the old man is. Freaked out and dazed, the protagonist can only spit blood, feeling the sting of the hit. The cult leader strolls over, saying he can't even dodge the simplest attacks. Then, he questions if he's really his savior, calling him pathetic and saying he's not even worth killing until something catches his eye. It's the protagonist's puppy, trying to bite the aggressor's leg. Panicking, the protagonist yells for his dog to run since it's dangerous. Uselessly, he tries to warn them not to touch his pet, or they'll regret it. But looking to the side, he sees his buddy and family flying, crashing into the wall. With a shrill scream, he sees his family sprawled on the ground. The gray-haired man orders them to toss the protagonist into the underground prison and feed the animal to the wolves, which the bald man gets. With a roar of rage, the gunslinger declares it's not just a pet, but his family. He warns that if they touch his puppy, the man will definitely meet his end. The man turns, questioning if he really thinks he's that strong. Our protagonist stands tall and asks who he thinks is the strongest in the world. The bald man, just annoyed, replies that he's only provoking his master. The elder, leader of the sect, looks at the provocateur, his attention snagged by something weird. The bald man doesn't get it, but the leader acknowledges it's an unusual object. Our protagonist then declares that whoever's got a weapon is the strongest. A shot rings out, and the gunpowder's glow fills the air. Both watch the projectile fly. The gray-haired man with a goatee wonders what the point of that thing is. Suddenly, his head gets pierced by the shot. The elder, known as Bald Eagle, questions what just happened, shocked to see the leader bleed. The leader's body drops, creating a shockwave. Freaked out, they can't wrap their heads around what just went down. Confused, the man with the goatee tries to call the leader, but soon he screams furiously, ordering everyone to attack as they can't let the assassin slip away. With battle cries, they all charge toward the protagonist. He, however, says they can all come at once. After all, he's still got one more weapon in his arsenal. Sounds of gunfire boom like thunder. The bullets fly toward the attackers. He says they all messed with the wrong person. A massacre kicks off with King Gun in action. The casualties jump from dozens to hundreds. The shots are fired with precision, always hitting the head. The bald elder hears cries for help as the others try to take him down. We then flash back to the past, where a dude tries to warn that they've already lost and says sorry. Our main character starts questioning everything he believes. Without waiting for a reply, he warns that it's all about grace, with a side of chill. A punch lands on the dude, who drops like a sack of potatoes. The strong hand gets ready to throw another hit. Our main character, rocking short hair, says that revenge is on the menu too. He's kinda bummed because they went down way too fast. Out of nowhere, someone shouts at the young man. He asks if he thinks he's the strongest now that he's all alone. He points out that there's always someone who can't be taken down. But our main character finds it all super silly. He asks if the dude even knows him, or if he's just playing the fool. He wonders if he really wants to find out who's the strongest. Then, a sound as loud as a firecracker makes him jump. He looks down, feeling a sharp pain hit him. The guy in front says no matter how strong he thinks he is, he'll never win a fight with just his fists. Kneeling, our main character asks why he's doing this. With a smirk, he says he should have talked instead of shooting his leg. The dude, grinning, claims he's just being dramatic since the shot was a light one. Our main character curses under his breath. The guy says it's wild how life can change with just a flick of a finger. Our main character, sweating from the pain, asks what the dude wants from him. With a red glare and a sly grin, the bald guy says he wants his help and will make him the strongest dude ever. The sun glints off the barrel of our main character's gun. The bald elder looks up as a bullet zips through his arm. The protagonist asks if he really gets who's the strongest here. Desperate, the bald man promises to give him anything, just spare his life. Time ticks by and the elder asks how comfy the seat is. With a daring look, our main character grips the gun, now the cult leader. His little dog has leveled up to vice leader. A bullet whizzes past the ear of the grinning bald man. He feels the heat from the wound. Annoyed, the gunslinger asks if he's lost it, just wanting to go home. Realizing he needs to deal with the one who shot him, he thinks this might be impossible. The elder says he has no clue how to go back since there's no way. Our main character, pretending to be all cheerful, sings that he really doesn't know and should have said so earlier. He points the gun at the bald man's temple, threatening to send him to the old leader's lap in hell. The old man kneels, begging for a few more days to fix things. Fear is written all over his face as he pleads for more time. Irritated, our main character pinches his nose and tells the elder to scram. The bald man bolts, terrified, while our main character wonders if he should just end him. Soon, he plops down and chills, questioning the whole situation since his phone's not working. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. He opens it, shocked, thinking it was broken. He spots a weird message from someone offering a chance to conquer the Murim world. He recognizes it as the same message he got before dying, which he thought was total spam. As he reads, irritation bubbles up. He starts typing, saying he doesn't get why he can't respond. He just wants out of this mess. The message dares him to survive in Murim, in another dimension. He replies that Kim must complete a mission, which only annoys him more, wondering what it's about. The message explains that conquering Murim is key to escaping. If he doesn't finish the mission in a year, he'll lose something precious, his adorable little dog. Our main character squeezes his head in frustration, while the message adds that the dog can't die because it's too cute. Wishing him good luck, the message wraps up. Stunned and stressed, he screams in despair and anger throughout the cult hall. Then, Kim opens a door and asks if the bald man is around. He hears him say he's a stinky one and doesn't respect the elders, claiming if he had known, he would have sent him back already. Suddenly, our main character's shadow looms, and he asks if the elder is traveling, making him scream in panic. In tears, the bald man tries to explain that he was talking about his son and that the bag was to figure out how to send him back. He begs not to be killed, rambling about the perks of keeping the old man alive. Our main character tries to say that's not what he came to chat about, but the bald man's fear cuts him off. Irritated, he tells the elder to shut it and listen, to which he apologizes, scared for his life. The protagonist clears his throat and says he's totally down to do what he mentioned earlier. The guy's confused by what the protagonist just said. He thinks they're about to take over the Murim world completely, but the bald eagle, face glowing with joy, says it's what he expected from his epic savior and leader, promising to get the squad ready ASAP. But our protagonist throws in a condition for that. A bit later, the old elder calls everyone to listen up. He announces he's going to share the leader's orders, saying they're no longer the Sacred Blood sect, but now they're the sect of Mongo, rocking the symbol of the cutest vibes ever. The disciples start to celebrate, though it's kind of forced, the name of the new sect. One of them wonders how he can escape this, thinking it's all dumb, but then he spots the puppy and instantly changes his mind, realizing he has to love it unconditionally for its pure adorableness. One dude, out of nowhere, asks the little Mongo to marry him. Meanwhile, they get the scoop that the leader of the demonic cult has switched up and even changed his name. An old man checks out the view while hearing that the sect is now called the Mongu cult. He, the head of the Kunlun sect, figures a new era is on the horizon. Curious, he asks about the new leader, and they say he's using some wild demonic arts. The old man, intrigued, asks if that's legit, and the other guy says it's just rumors. But everyone who saw it claims that every move he makes leads to someone biting the dust. In shock, the elder asks about this strange art and learns it's all about a snap of the fingers. Apparently, the new cult leader just flicks his middle finger. Confused, the old man asks if that's really it, but the kneeling dude can only guess. Somewhere in the Mongu clan, someone yells that this news makes zero sense. After all, our protagonist took down the last leader and is already the new face of leadership without the elder's thumbs up. Quickly, the second elder jumps in, saying the strongest person gets to be the leader. The redhead shouts that he's not cool with this whole savior thing, but the oldest warns him to watch his mouth, since he's the current leader of the cult. Another guy slams his fist on the table, showing his disappointment, impressing everyone around him. This chubby dude boldly claims he made huge sacrifices for the cult. Humiliated, he says he gave up sleep, food, and fun, and still wasn't consulted. The most sensible one says if he's got complaints, he better prove himself by showing his strength. But he needs to remember that the new leader took down the last one, and if he's not careful, he might end up 6 feet under. The redhead turns to the door, and everyone follows him, sensing someone coming. It's the first elder who announces that this is the new leader of the cult. The three quickly stand up to show respect for the new authority. Suddenly, the fourth elder spots something near our protagonist, the adorable little puppy that's tagging along. Bending down, he wonders how that tiny creature can be so cute, asking how the young man found such an adorable buddy. With a creepy grin, he says he'll take good care of the new little friend, but our protagonist cuts him off with a savage insult. Punching the elder in the face, he asks where he gets the nerve. The fourth elder hits the ground, hurt, but our protagonist couldn't care less. With a clenched fist, he says they called him there, and all they do is clown him. As punishment, he orders the elder to keep his mouth shut in his presence and asks if he got that. Then, he questions why the elder isn't responding, and the fat man tries, but gets shut down. The first elder, sweating bullets, says they're about to kick off the council meeting. So, the cult leader can casually start all this. Soon, our protagonist asks for everyone's attention and says they're about to start the conquest of the Murim. But the redhead freaks out when he hears that if they don't hit their goal in a year, they'll have to take their own lives. Curiously, our protagonist notices that now no one wants to die. Then, they start throwing out quick ideas to conquer the Murim in a year. Someone raises their hand, calling out to the cult leader, ready to say it's impossible to conquer in such a short time. But our protagonist cuts him off, feeling like he's some kind of T, totally confusing him. Kim quickly explains that he was about to say it was impossible, and for that, he must be considered an idiot with a capital T. Confused, the elder wonders what this T even means. Suddenly, the musclehead slams his fist on the table, furious, saying he's had enough. Shouting, he claims that the more he hears, the more it sounds like total madness. He explains that he's making decisions without the cult's say-so, which is just not cool. He calls out the protagonist, saying that even though he took down the old leader, they can't just accept this. If they want to recognize him, they'll have to throw down for the leader spot. Irritated, the other responds that this is ridiculous, since everyone was summoned to conquer the Murim, and he'll show the elder what happens when you mess around. Our protagonist claims he trusts his words, but realizes the dude in front of him has a weird ability, just like the former leader. In the end, he doesn't have many bullets, so he'll need to use them wisely. With his head down, our protagonist reloads his weapon, confusing the elder, who thinks he's bowing out of fear. With a confident grin, the redhead says, Kim must have pulled some trick to beat the last leader, but that won't work on him. Confidently, the redhead strides toward Kim, while the first elder tries to warn his buddy not to do anything dumb. The redhead taunts our protagonist, asking if he's scared to face him. The elder, our protagonist, and even the little dog are all shocked by the bold move. Continuing the roast, he questions why he's being ignored and says the boy seems hesitant to fight. Our protagonist declares that this ends here and decides to take him down hard. But as he pulls the trigger, something wild happens. His weapon turns into his phone. He opens the device and reads something that totally grabs his attention. With a sinister smile, the man asks why he's not being attacked, acting like he's the villain in a movie. But our protagonist stands tall, questioning if he really wants to face him. With slow, confident steps, Kim shows he's not backing down. Soon he agrees to the fight, but with a special condition that our protagonist thought of to teach him a lesson. He says his position is on the line, so it'll be fun to have a special duel. The red-haired elder looks scared as the protagonist's killer vibe totally intimidates him. Elsewhere, at night, people are buzzing about the duel between the elder and the leader. One of them thinks the new cult master is reckless, yet still loses to the first bald elder. Most believe that Dongguang is in position 5 because of his strength, but there's more to it. His greatest strength is flipping a situation where he's about to get wrecked into one where the enemy can't move from exhaustion. In the flashback, a disciple tries to attack him with everything he's got, but the elder just stands there, thinking it's all too weak. Tenacity is the name of his technique, which lets him take even a tiger's attack. That's why he's known as the mobile fortress. Suddenly someone jumps into the convo saying these juniors know nothing. After all, the cult leader is truly terrifying, and he saw it firsthand. It was a chill morning with no clouds in the sky when the chaos hit, and suddenly, with a boom of thunder, the cult leader went down. That's when the real fight kicked off. As soon as our protagonist moved, a thunderous massacre unfolded. The chubby one was frozen, watching his buddies get taken out without mercy. Even though his opponent was just a weak old man, the dude didn't hesitate to finish him. At that moment, a perfect nickname popped into the fat guy's mind: the true demon of horror. The two who heard the nickname thought it was a savage burn, but suddenly, they announced that the leader and the fifth elder were already on the scene. A true battle of the century was about to go down. The mobile fortress against the demon of horror. Promptly, the redhead clasped his hands and asked if the protagonist was ready because he was going to beat him senseless. Kim found that ridiculous, but it was expected. Everyone was ready to throw shade, at least until the first shot was fired. A disciple stated that the duel would be under the conditions set by the leader. A simple punch. The rules were clear. The opponents would take turns throwing punches, and the last one standing would win. It's important to note that the winner would decide whether the loser gets to live. Soon, they decided who would start, but the redhead questioned if they had forgotten his title. Reminding them that it was the mobile fortress, he wouldn't regret taking the first hit. Our protagonist thought the dude in front of him was totally off his rocker, but then he figured, why not seize the moment? He warned that his main target was going to be his chest. The elder grinned, all smug, saying the other would totally regret spilling those beans. In a flash, all the muscles in his abs tightened up, bracing his chest. Fully pumped, he yelled for the protagonist to come at him with everything he had. But out of nowhere, a shot rang out, hitting the fifth elder right in the thigh, totally catching him off guard. The referee and the opponent went pale, shocked by the audacity of that dirty move. The tension was thick, and silence fell as blood poured from the redhead's leg. Our protagonist, confused, asked what everyone was staring at. The disciples thought it was just a loud bang, probably nothing to hurt the elder. But the wall came crashing down as he felt pain like never before. Everyone went quiet, listening to the guy on the ground complain that the protagonist said he'd aim for his chest. Annoyed, he accused him of pulling a fast one with such a cheap shot. Our dude with the gun looked down from above, all high and mighty, and smirked, claiming he had totally lied about where he'd aim, making the buff dude even angrier. In his head, the elder felt embarrassed in front of the cult members and knew he had to get up to save face. Sighing hard, he reminded himself to chill. After all, it was his turn, and he still had one good leg. His veins bulged as he declared the protagonist better get ready, cause his punch was gonna pack a punch. The redhead said this strike was called the attack of a tiger, so he named it the tiger's fist in tribute. But before he could land that hit, another shot rang out, hitting his other leg. Once again, everyone was in shock, witnessing such a wild scene. Our protagonist, all chill, asked why they looked so horrified. The referee tried to explain that in this kind of duel, you gotta wait your turn, but Kim cut him off. He asked who made that rule, and if it was in the Constitution or something. If it was, he wanted the article and paragraph to back up that duel. The bald eagle elder thought even a demon would be scared of such a twisted personality. In his mind, the redhead knew he had to stand up, but he couldn't feel his legs while he heard our protagonist drop a saying from his world. You can survive a tiger's attack if you keep your wits, but that's not true. All you really need to survive against a tiger is a weapon. Soon, the elder tried to beg for mercy, justifying his survival, but Kim had already made up his mind. Then, we hear a sound like a gunshot, and the redhead shuts his eyes, waiting for the end. When he opens them, he sees Kim walking away, saying he's worth more alive than dead. In silence, the man watches this scene of unexpected kindness, his heart swelling with an incredible feeling. Scratching his nose, he realizes it's the start of a weird friendship, but he's freaked out since his bullets are gone and he almost bit the dust. Suddenly, a notification sound perks him up. He checks his phone and sees he completed his mission, to take down the fifth elder without killing him. But then, he remembers something important, and asks Dai Doc if there are only 4 elders. The answer is 5 in total, and the third is MIA. Next, we see a real bloodbath, with a single woman taking out several men. She gets the scoop on everything that went down while she was gone. Wiping her face with a towel, she thinks she was all alone trying to revive her cult. Still, this new guy managed to take down the old leader and the 5th elder, which gets her hyped to meet him. Everyone gears up and gets ready to bounce. Jin Huaran, the 3rd elder, is pumped to meet the new leader of the cult. A few days later in the morning, the protagonist wonders why his dog is so grumpy. With his eyes wide open, he sees the cheerful face of the 5th elder wishing him good morning. Startled, Kim responds with a straight-up punch to the redhead's face, saying his ugly mug scared him. Then, he explains that his fist moved on reflex, and the elder says he was on guard to make sure no one interrupted him. If anyone dared to mess with the protagonist, he'd go full savage. But Kim just tells the elder to bounce, feeling threatened, which bums out the redhead. Soon the leader asks why the bald dude is even here, and the answer comes back that he got called. A bit later, with the sun blazing overhead, the gunslinger kicks off the meeting and demands to know why he's the chosen one and why they should take over Murim. Right on cue, the 2nd elder jumps in to explain. The Orthodox sects decided the blood cult was a major issue since they weren't vibing with their values or cultivation techniques. The problem spread, and they decided to attack, not caring about kids or the elderly. Because they were outnumbered, the blood cult got wrecked by both the orthodox and non-orthodox sects. The protagonist asks if they don't belong to either group, and the elder says they don't, sticking to their beliefs and staying neutral until the attack. Now, they want to unite the chaotic world of Murim under the protagonist's command so everyone can chill in the peace he can bring. The elder tries to say that pulling this off in a year is impossible, but the gunslinger cuts him off, saying he doesn't care about peace among the cults since he's not some Disney hero. He gripes that no country has pulled off something this wild and asks again why he's the savior. The first elder, all tense, admits he doesn't know who summoned him. This just confuses the boy more, who learns that everything went down during the Murim Alliance attack. On that day, chaos rained down on the cult. The first elder tries to shout that he's just a simple servant, but the guy intimidating him points out he's clearly important, thanks to his flashy outfit. The man about to take him out doesn't notice a third figure creeping up. As the presence gets closer, the guy gets confused and asks where the newcomer popped up from. But one swift move from the unknown is enough to shut him up. The bald elder screams in terror when he sees that with a single hit that dude twisted his head. In a desperate attempt to survive, the elder tries to play it cool, saying he's sick and doesn't have much time left. But he jumps when a weird scroll gets tossed his way. The unknown figure claims that, at the right moment, the savior who will unite all of Murim will show up, and the elder needs to be ready for him. With the scroll in hand, the elder can only throw out questions. The shadowy figure quickly turns and says that once he reads it, everything will make sense. Our protagonist realizes this dude is a total mystery. But the elder spots something striking. The guy is as bald as he is. The protagonist hears this and thinks bald people must have a secret handshake or something. So this man was the one who brought him to this world, but his goals are still a total question mark. Suddenly, an injured disciple stumbles in, saying he's got a problem that needs to be seen ASAP. When they arrive, our gunslinger wonders what's going on. The scene before him shows all the cult members brutally dead. The one responsible apologizes for the unexpected mess with the new cult leader, explaining he acted this way because they weren't allowed to enter. This dude is named Gayum Gopung, leader of the Phantom Sword sect. The protagonist asks what's up with the chaos. If it was just a misunderstanding, there wouldn't be so many bodies around. With his sword in hand, the man explains he was waiting for the perfect moment to take down the blood cult. When he found out the former leader got taken out by an outsider, he couldn't hold back. Now, they've got a reason to hunt these losers down as prey. Annoyed by the chat, the protagonist says they want to claim an empty house. With a big grin, the vein-filled man says the young one is clever but questions what he'll do now that he knows their plans. Kim shoots back, saying if he were clever, he'd already know what's coming. Someone behind the giant pipes up, saying there's no reason for the leader to take charge. The former leader is gone, and this axe giant will handle the boy. The protagonist freaks out seeing the size of the weapon and asks if he's really planning to chop off his head with that. Determined, the giant says it's obvious and will do it quick so the leader doesn't suffer. Kim watches him approach and thinks he's actually pretty fast. Suddenly, something catches the gunslinger's eye. He's no longer holding his weapon. Defenseless, he sees the monstrous figure about to end him. But then, a weird sound rings out, and the giant jumps back, startled to see ketchup flying everywhere. The person defending our gunslinger says it's pure audacity to attack their boss right in front of them. The hefty elder claims the giant won't even leave a mark with that swing. Then, the redhead chimes in, saying that going after the leader of the Mongu clan and treating him badly is one of the worst crimes ever. With all his rage, the musclehead throws a massive uppercut at the giant. The force of that hit was so wild that even the other clan members felt it shake their bones. With ketchup all over his hand, the redhead declares that their sentence is death. No questions asked. Behind them, Kim thinks the fifth elder has really outdone himself this time. If he plays his cards right, he could totally take over Murim, and it's not even a long shot. The leader of the attack says they picked the dumbest way to handle this mess. With a creepy grin, he tells the enemies to watch as their choices lead to their own downfall. Our protagonist, holding something in his hand, wonders why the old man talks so much and asks him to chill for a second. In the end, the gunslinger isn't looking for a fight everywhere, but he doesn't let anyone who wants a fight walk away. Both leaders lock eyes, ready to throw down. With the final order to wipe everyone out, the battle is about to kick off. Hearing the boss's command, both elders suddenly look way more serious. The redhead bolts forward, shouting that he's been waiting for this moment. Our protagonist realizes he's actually useful in situations like this. But looking at the hefty guy, he thinks maybe he's more useless than he thought. Striking a pose, the elder crashes to the ground, flexing all his muscles. With a wild grin, he says he's been holding back forever and tells them to come at him. The cult members charge toward the fortress, but the redhead dodges the first attack like it's nothing. The second one is just a joke to him. Seizing the third chance, he lunges and lands a brutal punch right to the attacker's ribs. The other two attack, but it's like throwing marshmallows at a brick wall. With a quick move, the fifth elder easily takes down both of them. But then he realizes he's left a gap in his defense. Behind him, one of the attackers rushes in, thinking he can take him out. The sound of something slicing through the air echoes, but the fifth elder stands tall, seemingly hit. The disciple brags that the sword was a gift from his dad. But the elder just laughs, grabbing the blade with his bare hand. With a flick, he snaps the weapon that meant so much to the guy. Then he grabs the attacker by the neck. The disciple gasps as the redhead lifts him up effortlessly. He slams him to the ground, smashing his head against the floor. With a grin, the redhead says these skills are just ridiculous. Feeling a presence behind him, the elder gets ready for another attack. But surprise, it's his brother watching his back. Another disciple charges in, questioning if the elder can handle it. His face twists as he realizes something wild. The hefty one, in a serious tone, reminds him he can't have any scars on his body. Getting ready to punch, he tells the disciple to think about his dumb choices in hell. Soon, the disciple feels the punch land on his face, but is shocked by how soft it is. Confused, the elder asks what he's staring at and if he wants more punches, confirming that the hefty one can't hit hard at all. Our protagonist watches, feeling disgusted by the chubby guy who looks like a pig. Then two people come up to attack him. They think the young man is dumb for turning his back, and that he must use tricks to win. As they move in, they say they'll be happy to take him out. But in a flash, the one in front just vanishes. Our protagonist pops up behind him, saying he's looking the wrong way. The disciple tries to plead for mercy, but his neck is already twisted beyond repair. His buddy, in shock, watches in silence. Coming back to reality, he tries to say something about the protagonist, calling him a jerk, but Kim cuts him off, tossing ketchup into the air. With that simple move, the top of his head is no longer where it should be. Then, in a cold tone, Kim glances to the side. Seeing others rushing toward him, he says, "This is getting boring." Annoyed, he thinks they're totally underestimating him, thinking he's an easy target. Kim, with insane agility, leaps at the attackers, finishing them off with pinpoint strikes to their weak spots. He moves so fast that all you see is his shadow flying through the air. One of the disciples spots a creepy figure creeping toward him. The attack hits so hard it slams his head into the ground. The gunslinger drops some wisdom on the attackers, saying they should know who they're up against before throwing down. We see the red-haired elder surrounded by a crowd, dunking his head in ketchup. He thinks this whole mess is finally wrapping up. But out of nowhere, he sees a strike coming and dodges just in time. Lucky for him, he wasn't hit. The impact was so intense it shattered the ground around him. He gets back on his feet ready to throw down, saying this is for the sect leader. With a frown, he calls out that surprise attacks show a total lack of honor. Suddenly, the fifth elder's vision starts to blur, a purple haze messing with his head. The ghost sword cult leader laughs, thinking the poison isn't that strong. He's gearing up to attack, claiming he'll send the elder straight to the last leader of the cult. But with a fierce look, the elder charges at the attack, using his hand to block and push back the blow. The energies clash, creating a massive shockwave that sends warriors flying. Our redhead realizes the poison is messing with his internal arts. Kim watches the chaos, stressing about where his weapon is when it's most needed. Then he spots something running toward him. His little pup, Mongu, bringing his weapon back, and he can't help but cheer for the little hero. The young gunslinger knows winning without a weapon is tough. With only a few bullets left, he has to be smart, but he can't let this threat stick around. Looking up, he sees something weird coming his way. The fifth elder drops to his knees as the leader of the other sect boasts that the prestigious Blood of Death cult will finally dissolve, taking full control of the new cult. But he doesn't see the chains wrapping around him. Suddenly, two figures attack, wrapping steel around his neck. The third elder drops from the sky like a wild beast. The ghost sword cult leader begs for mercy, but his halves are split by a single strike of the short blade. The third elder says she wanted to show respect, but the vibe was off. It's their first meeting, and she introduces herself as Jin Huaran, captain of the Bloodsteel group. Our protagonist watches her with a cold stare, realizing she's odd but might be more useful than the other elders. Pulling out her dagger, she's curious about the cult leader's skills. Her image blurs with speed, and she zips in front of the protagonist like lightning, eager to see the one who took down the former leader. Kim is caught off guard by her energy. The cut comes in fast. She thought she'd just scare him, but his quick reaction makes her think he didn't win by luck. Gripping her dagger tighter, she decides to go for him again. As if reading her mind, the protagonist warns he won't hold back on a second attack. The elder realizes he's holding the infamous weapon she's heard so much about. She thinks it's no big deal and decides to check it out, but suddenly stops, feeling a weird vibe coming from him. It's like the universe is telling her her next move could be her last. In front of her, that guy looks like the biggest demon ever. Even the bald eagle elder feels the weight of the moment. The elder quickly pulls herself together and says the strongest must lead the cult, so this test is necessary. Joining her hands, she asks for forgiveness for how she came off. Our protagonist stays quiet, thinking the elder is just a bit off. In the distance, we see the giant with his fallen axe, but he's still breathing. Clenching his fist, he wonders if he really passed out for a second, acknowledging the strength of the one who knocked him out. With icy eyes, Kim glances to the side when he hears someone call him a bastard. It's the giant, grinning confidently, claiming his leader will easily wipe them out and torture them to death. Looking down, he sees the one who was supposed to protect him lying there. Remembering the warning he got about this being a bad idea, he runs into the spirit of the former leader, who shakes his head in disapproval. Night falls, and our protagonist insists he managed to sort things out. But what's coming next is still a mystery, and there are bound to be plenty of wild moments in the quest to conquer the Murim. In this world, there are folks who can send you flying with a punch and even split the ground with a sword. If these legends keep popping up, he's next on the chopping block. Kim pets his adorable puppy, staying quiet. He then strolls into another room, calling out for the bald elder. With a forced grin, the elder asks what's up with the leader. Kim wants to know where he can score intel on enemies and possible allies. The elder realizes this is a legit question and starts brainstorming, suggesting a trip to the Hao clan, which just confuses Kim even more, sparking his curiosity. This crew is made up of lower-class peeps like doormen and restaurant managers who can gather info from anywhere and sell it for a price. Kim gets the vibe and asks where to find them. The elder hesitates to let him go solo, but Kim insists he needs to hear the scoop firsthand and make his own call. The elder decides to pick someone to tag along. Kim's cool with it but tells the bald elder to leave out the third elder, leaving the bald dude puzzled since she's the one who knows the outside world. The redhead pops up next to him, and Kim says she's totally off her rocker. Before long, the fifth elder offers to lead him to the Hao clan, catching the gunslinger off guard, who then punches him in the ribs. The giant drops, drooling from the hit, and Kim warns him not to bring that brute along. A bit later, we see a lit street with a carriage. Inside, Kim and the fifth elder are on the move. He thinks he definitely asked not to include that idiot, and wonders why Jin is rocking those clothes. At the elders' meeting, the first elder says the leader needs an escort to the Hao clan. The third and fifth elders jump in to volunteer, while the elder, looking bummed, wonders why it had to be those two. The girl claims it's only natural for her to go since she knows the outside world better. The redhead argues back, saying he should go because he's basically glued to the leader. Confused, Jin points out this makes zero sense since the redhead has never had the guts to visit the Hao clan, which just makes the muscular one even angrier. They start bickering, both wanting to tag along with our protagonist. The elder sees the chaos and has no clue what to do. Kim thinks about how he'll take down that bald dude next time he sees him. Quickly, the coachman chimes in that it's getting late and they should crash there for the night. The street is buzzing at night and someone greets the gunslinger, asking how they can help. The redhead says they need a few rooms for the night, plus food and drinks. The host happily says it'll be a pleasure to serve them and promises to bring everything they asked for, just asking them to take a seat. But suddenly, someone kicks the door in like they're auditioning for a wrestling match. It's a guy from the Kunlun clan, drunk and on the hunt for a drink and an empty room. He demands they find him a room, even if it means booting someone out. The innkeeper replies that the last rooms have been snagged by the newcomers. The drunk dude, not recognizing the owner, tells him to scram and find another room. Then, he spots something in the protagonist's crew. It's the stunning lady, the third elder. With a nasty look, he asks where she came from and introduces himself as a disciple of the first generation of the great Kunlun clan. He insists she shouldn't hang with low-class folks and suggests she spend the night with someone as ugly as him. The fifth elder, annoyed, thinks the young man should stand up to that jerk. But he remembers when their argument got interrupted by a tea master. The other says they should escort the cult leader, but without causing a scene. Shaking with anger, the fifth warns that he'll find another place if this keeps up. The arrogant disciple asks why they're so riled up, but soon gets a powerful kick to the groin, throwing him off balance. The protagonist looks down at him, acting all superior. With a nasty expression, the arrogant disciple questions how he dares to do this and vows not to hold back. But a quick kick to his chin sends the ketchup he was about to eat flying. It was the protagonist who struck, like a soccer star scoring a goal. In a serious tone, he tells him to call his buddies, as he'll be waiting. Then, he shouts, asking when the food will arrive because he's starving. Desperate, the redhead realizes he's in a tight spot. While he stays silent and tense, the third elder watches, thinking she couldn't stop the chaos. The companions of the arrogant disciple move in with weapons drawn, but the woman throws a knife in their direction. The knife slams into one of the disciples' chests. The other dude yells about the knife stuck in him and, turning to the elder, calls her a coward. But before he can finish, a swift kick connects with his head, cutting him off mid-sentence. The third elder drops down smoothly, using her hand to support herself, and then delivers another kick right to the dude's collarbone. She hits him hard, making his head wobble like a bobblehead. With style, she stands back up. She calls out to her crew hiding in the shadows. Two figures pop up, almost like they were summoned by magic. The women ask if the captain called them. She says they've got a lot of work ahead. She made sure they'd leave the guys alive, so they need to dose them with some hallucination drug to wipe their memories and toss them in a bar with some ladies of the night. After that, she'll dish out new orders. With a serious vibe, she says she needs to chat with the cult leader. The protagonist wonders if she's going to go after him again. The three are chilling at the table, under a bright light. The woman asks if the leader knows who those guys were, and he says he doesn't. She explains they were disciples from the Kunlun clan, part of the Murim alliance, who've messed with them before. If this news gets out, that nightmare could happen again, and she's not about to lose her cult, which she sees as family, again. The protagonist stays quiet, deep in thought. Soon, a memory pops up about his family. In a photo, he sees his younger self in a rundown orphanage, living in rough conditions. The woman insists they need to dodge any run-ins with the Murim alliance at all costs. The protagonist, serious as ever, promises to keep that in mind, no matter what. The fifth elder is surprised, since it's rare for the cult leader to agree so easily. Then the protagonist asks if the Hao clan is linked to the Murim alliance, getting a no in response. The woman notices he looks tired, but stresses the need for caution, assigning the fifth elder to keep him safe. The redhead asks where they're headed, and she replies that she'll make sure the evidence of what went down doesn't leak. She heads out, wishing him a safe trip back. A bit later, the elder calls for the leader, saying they've arrived. The protagonist jokes that they took forever. He steps into the spot where he'll meet the Hao clan. An old dude with lines on his face asks how he can help. The protagonist mentions the secret key, hearing that the old man sells some special booze. The old man pulls a hidden lever, inviting them to follow him. The group heads down the stairs, all chill. The old man tells them to step inside. When the doors swing open, they're greeted by the host of the Hao clan, the provincial manager. He thinks the Mongu clan is a bit weird, once super prestigious but now kinda a mess, so he figures it's not smart to be nice to them. With a cocky tone, he asks what brings them there. The fifth elder, annoyed, notices the host's arrogance as he looks down on them. The protagonist brushes off the tone and seems confused. With a grin, the manager points out he's being ignored and claims he's a pro at dealing with people like that. He starts to mock, asking if something about his vibe was off. The elder gets even more annoyed, sensing the guy wants him gone. But the protagonist just smiles and bursts out laughing. The manager laughs too, thinking the protagonist is loving the joke. Both are cracking up, almost in a creepy way, but soon, the manager's smile fades, and he says he's out, since this is all pointless. The protagonist asks his ally if the clan really isn't tied to the Murim alliance, getting a yes back. He points at the arrogant dude in front of him and tells the fifth elder to take action. Getting the hint, the redhead steps up with a tiger punch, smashing the arrogant dude right in the face. His hit is so strong, it sends the manager crashing through several doors underground. The protagonist walks up and says the gunslinger isn't dumb for laughing with him. A cult leader showed up personally, and the dude better show some respect. He turns to the old man, assuming he's the real boss. The redhead thought Kim acted out of emotion, but he didn't realize the old man was the true manager. Startled, the old man calls for the attacked manager, who really is the real one. The fifth elder looks even more confused, making a funny face. The protagonist realizes his mistake and chuckles lightly, showing off his wild imagination. In the distance, a masked guy watches the scene. With a strange technique, he starts to fade away like mist. Another person on the roof asks where the leader of the Mongu clan is right now. This disciple says he's chilling at the Hao clan in Branch Province with the fifth elder. But guess what? They had a little mishap on the way with the Kunlun clan's disciples. An important dude is all fired up, saying this can't slide, and sends a message to the protagonist clan. The tea is that they're rolling up for a slow and painful showdown. Biting his lips in rage, the establishment owner is fuming over how they dared to mess with him and swears he'll never let it go. The protagonist steps in saying that's enough and tells him to sit down for a chat. The kneeling guy insists his lame existence doesn't matter, but the protagonist shoots back that he better sit or he'll get wrecked. Soon, the dude, looking all fresh and clean, asks what brings a cult leader to this dump. The protagonist says he wants the 411 on the sex vibing with the Murim alliance, and the guy nods, saying he's in the right spot, asking if there's anything else. The protagonist wonders if there's any crew that can boost their strength. The guy raises an eyebrow, asking if he's planning to kick off a war. The protagonist, in a serious tone, asks if he really needs to spell it out, and the guy says nah. The manager drops that this info is gold and suggests a price of at least $2,000 in cash. He knows it's a lot, but thinks it'll keep the jerks happy. Kim decides to drop some wisdom on his buddy. Everything's useless when death's on the line, and the redhead gets it fast. The manager, confused, asks what they're cooking up and tells the cult leader he'll lower the price. The elder warns that the other dude better be ready to live in misery and lose a member, and Kim gives him props for catching on quick. The manager, sweating, says he can't just hand over the info for free. The protagonist replies that no one said anything about free stuff. They'll trade something. The guy, relieved, asks what he'll get, and the protagonist, rubbing his hands together, says he looks like a kid waiting for a Christmas gift. So the gunslinger's gonna be a cool Santa and let the young man live in exchange for the scoop. The guy, tearing up, wonders who Santa Claus is and what Christmas even means. The protagonist then says, since they're cool with the trade, he urgently needs the info. The guy thinks he's worse than a demon and promises to send the deets about the Murim alliance. But he'll need to hunt down certain groups that could help the Mongu clan and will need some time for that. The protagonist asks how long, and the guy says about 30 days, but the gunslinger cuts it down to 1 week. Kim gives him just enough time to get the goods, but soon the guy asks if he can spill some tea about the Kunlun clan. He explains that this sect is part of the Taoist alliance and hangs out at the top of a massive snowy mountain. Getting there is no walk in the park, and since it's a super closed sect, there's not much to know. But they joined the 9 great sects of the world because they're a small elite squad with some serious power. For some unknown reason, after the war against the blood cult, all disciples were sent down the mountain. The boy, deep in thought, figures that being a small elite group means they probably wiped out the members who disrespected them. He wonders if the higher-ups just lost interest in the weaker disciples, and the informant nods, saying that seems to be the case. The protagonist ponders if he should see this as a blessing or a curse and orders him to send the rest of the info straight to the Mongu clan. But before he bounces, he asks what their relationship is now. The guy quickly replies that they're just business partners, which hits the protagonist right in the feels. He says that where he's from, when 2 people throw down, they end up becoming friends. Then, he asks again what their relationship is at that moment, gripping the guy's shoulder tight. Totally tense. The man realizes this feels like getting hit from one side while his buddy just watches and says they're allies. The protagonist turns and says, now that they're friends, he needs to know he's ready to sacrifice his life for him, living for him instead. This makes the guy tense, as he realizes he's made a deal with the devil, but the protagonist, in a chill tone, assures him he'll be under his care. After all, they're practically brothers now. And we can see the carriage rolling back to the clan. Our protagonist asks if the third elder is still in the district, and the answer is probably yes, since she usually ghosts everyone with her messages. Suddenly, something zooms past him, making the horses freak out and neigh like they just saw a ghost. The redhead yells, wondering what's going on, but it turns out to be a member of the third elder's squad, who's all apologies and says they had to block the street because of an emergency. He needs to bounce back to the Mongu clan for his own safety. No cap. Our protagonist catches what the vice leader Yan Nanak of the Blood Chain team said, and, when he rolls up to the cult, asks who those people are. The letter says the Black Blood sect is about to drop by, so they better gear up for a showdown. The bald elder asks if he's already spilled the tea on this sect, but our protagonist tells him to keep it short and spill the details. This crew is wrapped in rumors and is infamous for being a savage organization. They rake in cash through hits and don't hesitate to pull off brutal acts, no matter the age, gender, or beliefs, as long as the money's right. After the rundown, we see Kim deep in thought, probably plotting his next move. The bald man says they don't play by the rules, so they probably sent the letter with plans to take him out later. But no stress. He's got a plan up his sleeve. At night, the guards spot someone creeping up. One of them points his spear, barking orders to stop or face the consequences. The person moves slow, getting warned not to come any closer. The elder said if a sketchy person rolls up, the disciple should attack on sight. And that's exactly what he does, quick as a flash. But, behind him, the newcomer looks ready to stir up trouble. He stumbles upon some fallen bodies and, sensing another presence, glances to the side, seeing arrows flying his way. But the arrows hit the ground as he vanishes into thin air. The disciple who shot the arrows looks up and spots the intruder, who quickly tosses something that looks like a smoke bomb. With his vision all fogged up, the disciple says he lost track of the target and thinks he went a certain way. Soon, word spreads that an intruder has breached the place, and the 5th and 3rd elders sense something's off. A killer swaggers in through the front door. No fear. The one chilling on the throne looks a bit intimidating, and suddenly the doors creak open quietly. He says he thought an entire sect would roll through, but they only sent one person, which is a total letdown. The leader says he'll hear what the guy has to say first, but it's actually the 3rd elder in disguise, questioning why he's there. The man turns his head, looking curious and confused at the same time. Soon, he starts messing with the assassin's cloak, as if he's searching for something cool. Meanwhile, behind him, our protagonist pops up and tells him that as an assassin, he should never drop his guard. So, he decides to show how it's done. As he fires, he says that mercy is for the weak when facing enemies. The elders arriving on the scene shout for the cult leader, asking if he's okay. The first elder laughs, saying he saw this coming, as everything went according to his plan, and he's just that good. Claiming they'd have issues if they hadn't taken out the leader, the others shout that it was a bold move. Suddenly, the third elder glances to the side, noticing something intriguing. As she approaches the body, she says there's something there, but the first elder warns her about the poison risk. She replies that it doesn't look like a vial, but more like a message. In the letter, the leader of the Black Blood sect, and Cheonbaek, introduces himself and shows respect for the new cult leader, sending a fancy necklace that symbolizes trust between the sects. Realizing the blunder, the elder yanks the cord from her neck, confused just like the other elders and the protagonist. The first elder's face shows pure despair, revealing how big of a mistake they made. The silence in the room is thick as everyone realizes how serious this is. The protagonist, looking pale, turns to the one responsible, saying this is all part of the bald man's plans. The lipped elder realizes he's really messed up and shouts for his master to chill, asking to be heard. He argues that the intruder caused chaos and took out some disciples, so the retaliation was totally justified. Suddenly the guards, who seemed knocked out, ask if everything's cool, smiling and laughing because they're still alive. The elder, tense, realizes that the invader didn't take out any of his men, which only makes things worse. A meeting kicks off, and the second elder warns that if this mess leaks, the Murim alliance will catch wind of their moves, which could totally mess up their plans for domination. The third elder chimes in, saying they need to own their mistakes and hit up the Black Blood sect to say sorry. The redhead slams his fist on the table, furious, asking why they should apologize to some random sect. A debate sparks, with everyone throwing in their 2 cents. The bald dude raises his hand, eager to share his thoughts. He tries to pitch an idea that popped up from all this chaos. The protagonist says he can talk, but he better be ready for what comes next. The elder goes pale, sensing the threat from the protagonist's weapon. As he glares back, the boy thinks for a second and lifts his weapon, claiming it'll do the trick. Confused, the bald elder asks what he's talking about. With a sly grin, the protagonist chuckles, saying he'll take all the blame. The bald man is like, how's that even possible? The protagonist shrugs, saying it's not his problem. The elder just needs to beg and do whatever it takes to fix this. In shock, the bald man goes quiet. When he arrives at the enemy base, all he can think about is cursing the protagonist. His 2 buddies say they've reached the spot, a huge and fancy-looking house. One of the disciples watches from above, signaling like it's some secret code. And just like that, the doors to true chaos swing open for the elder, who starts walking in slow-mo, taking in the scene. Noticing everyone's wearing masks, the vibe gets super creepy. One of the masked guys says their master's in the room ahead. The bearded elder checks out the line of folks waiting for the master. When he opens the door, the leader greets him, saying he wrote the letter recently and didn't expect him to show up so soon. He introduces himself as the head of the Black Blood cult and mentions he worked hard to prep for this visit. Hoping to smooth things over, he suggests the elder grab a bite to chill after the long trip. A bit later, the bald man laughs, saying he really caught him off guard, since he's dealing with issues from his boss. Just thinking about that guy makes the elder's face heat up, while his buddy tells him to chill, since he's already getting tipsy. The bearded man shoots back that he's just a kid and should stay out of grown-up talks. Soon, the cult leader asks why the guy who sent the message hasn't come back yet. Feeling the pressure, the elder spills that there was an accident on the bridge to the Mongu clan, and despite their best efforts, they couldn't save him. Swallowing hard, he mentions that the unexpected outcome was the death of his prized disciple. The figure stays silent, not looking sad at all. The elder clenches his fists, scared for his own life, not getting the reaction behind the mask. But the leader laughs, saying he doesn't need to apologize, since he's just a dude. Feeling bold, the bald man agrees, thinking he's being nice. The masked figure stands up and asks if the necklace sent made it to the master's neck. With a grin, the bald man confirms it did, saying he liked the gift. Looking out the window, the leader takes off his mask, revealing a wicked smile. He says it's better for his guy to be dead, but he would have liked to meet the master to apologize for what's coming. Confused, the elder, feeling less tense, asks what he means. With a smirk, the cult leader says they're now on equal ground, since his precious subordinate is dead. The cult just lost its powerful master, leaving the bald elder even more baffled. He explains that the necklace had a poisonous candle, odorless and colorless. If someone hangs out in the same room too long, the poison seeps in, and after a day they'll be paralyzed. Eventually, death will come for someone who can't move. Realizing how serious this is, the elder gets tense, knowing the necklace is with his master. Shouting, he demands to know how the man could pull something so twisted. The leader replies that he did nothing wrong, and if the old man is mad, he can just die. Calmly, the elder says dwelling on the past will only bring more unnecessary wounds. He thinks about leaving, but the leader won't let that happen. Confused and scared, the bearded man asks if the other has more to say. The leader insists he can't let him leave alive, since the old man could spill the beans at any moment. Terrified, the elder screams that they killed his superior, who deserved it, and that's why he's on their side. He yells, questioning why his bodyguards are just standing there doing nothing. Looking at the dude who's supposed to have his back, he calls him an idiot for being more scared than the boss himself. Then, we flash back to the past, where the elder is begging his leader for mercy, saying if it's him, he's toast. But our main guy tells the old dude not to sweat it, totally confusing him. He promises to send the best bodyguard he can find, cause this plan is next level. Back in the present, the elder is wondering why he got stuck with such a useless bodyguard, claiming he's a goner in this mess. With a desperate shout, he screams for his doom to chill out. As the blade gets closer, someone starts cracking up, finding the whole thing hilarious. It's the other bodyguard who says nothing's changed. He's reminiscing about his glory days. As he pulls off the mask, he shows his real face and drops some wisdom he picked up from the ladies. His special vibe gives hope to the bald guy, who's even more shocked. The cult leader is totally stunned to see him there, asking how he even got there. The newcomer strolls up and asks why he never spends that cash. The answer's simple. He points a gun at the enemy. Soon, he says no one gives out pricey gifts without wanting something back. Before all this chaos, we see the second elder knocking on the master's door, who lets him in. He rubs his hands and asks if he can check out the weird necklace Kim got earlier. Our main guy says sure, but he doesn't get why it matters. He just warns him to be careful, cause his little dog is playing with it. When the guy picks up the necklace, he checks it out and confirms he was right. Inside the accessory, there's something, an ultra-poisonous candle. Our main dude, going pale, realizes this wasn't a gift at all. The second elder says the first was spot on. Our main guy jumps up, worried if his little dog is in danger from the necklace. But the bearded dude reassures him, saying the pup wasn't exposed for long. It might take a bit to recover, since he doesn't know what poison was used. Realizing the stakes, our main guy declares he's gonna take out everyone who tried to pull a fast one on him. But the long-haired dude notices he's not listening, warning him not to go off the rails. Given how serious this is, he says it's dangerous. The second elder suggests a plan. The bald guy screams with joy, realizing our main dude is alive and claims he's safe. But Kim, with a look of disgust, orders him to bounce immediately, scaring him. The assassin laughs, thinking he'd really bite the dust from a simple poison, but now he'll regret being there. With a wicked grin, he says he'll wish for death sooner because of the poison. Our main guy, pumped, says he's being ridiculous, cause there's no reason to be hyped. He then mentions that what he's holding could take him out at any moment. The ninja, never seeing a weapon like that, thinks there won't be time to use it. Many have seen his secret technique, but none live to tell the tale. The pressure in the room rises, making the water in the basins ripple. This is the final move of the Black Blood sect, called Constant Rain. He gets ready to unleash his last cut and end the fight fast, but in a blink, a bullet zips into the center of his forehead, taking him out instantly. Confusion is written all over his face as his body starts to fall back. Our main guy claims that his secret technique is just as deadly. Many have seen it, but none survived. This is a bond they share, and he's not bummed about it. Quickly, our main guy notices something and turns his gaze to the entrance. Soon, he spots a bunch of footsteps coming in, all armed with knives, ready to avenge their leader's death. Our dude is already used to this kind of chaos and says those who want a painful end should stick close to his weapon. Soon, they all start charging in, and one by one, they're taken down by gunfire. To save bullets, our main guy also pulls out a blade, making ketchup spray from the enemies he slices with skill. He's a pro at this kind of combat, blocking hits while shooting. Taking advantage of openings, he finds a way to escape, carving a path through the guys trying to stop him. He moves like a snake, landing shots and precise cuts to the vital spots of his enemies. The bald guy hears the ruckus in the room and imagines our main dude is a total monster in martial arts. After a few minutes, the dude stands among the bodies, but when he looks around, he can only think this is all super weird. Back in the day, he was all about those one-on-one fights, but facing a whole squad at once? Nah, that was rare. But there was always a simple way to win. Take out one of them to freak out the rest. After that, the pack of wolves fears a single sheep. He's trying to figure out which one to take out to make that happen. With only a few bullets left, he's got to play it smart. As he watches, he feels this crazy pressure in the air, making him shake with anxiety. Suddenly, boom! An explosion goes off, sending dust flying everywhere. We see someone banging on the table, totally annoyed. It's the third elder, saying their lord better be strong or he's toast. The second elder chimes in, saying there's no need to stress about his safety, which just confuses her more. The dude quickly grabs his tea and hears he's got to take someone with him. But he's all about chill vibes, saying even if he's not great at fighting, his smarts help him realize even the muscle needs backup. The fifth elder rolls in and asks if our guy is good. The gunslinger wonders how he even got there, but hears the question about the blood on his face. Quickly, our boy says it's not his, which just ticks off the brute even more. He yells that they should apologize in hell. Hearing this, our protagonist calls him a fool, asking why he came solo, but the elder just laughs it off. Next thing you know, someone's throwing a punch at one of the ninjas, smashing his mask. The hitman goes flying toward a door, spinning from the impact. The newcomer's fist is on fire, radiating power. Someone ties a bandana around their head, joining the fifth elder's crew, rolling in like a squad. Holding up some unconscious folks, the fifth elder says he's got a whole unit under his command. Our protagonist thinks, for the first time, he actually did something he enjoyed and warns that he's finished his revenge. He tells them to wipe out the rest, getting a solid yes in return. The redhead lands a kick on one of the thugs, sending him soaring. With quick steps, he follows the other as he gears up for a massive punch. He finishes by slamming down the one who dared to attack the leader right into the ground. The other assassins stare at the elder, who's giving off some serious demonic vibes. He asks why they're just standing there. Moving in, he makes an attack and questions why they aren't fighting back. After taking down the first, he fires a second kick at the next enemy, who gets wrecked. The third doesn't even see the smooth movement that hits him all at once. This dude is a beast, chasing after the others like a wild animal. His presence is dark, casting a heavy aura around him. Each punch hits with insane force, almost like he's flying as he takes out everyone in his path. The gunslinger watches, totally speechless. In the middle of the sea of bodies, he can only think he's actually useful. Then, the bald guy opens his mouth and asks for a minute. He tells the cult leader to look back, cause an enemy is coming. But in a flash, our protagonist takes him out, making him spill ketchup and asking why he even called him. The others are trapped by the fifth elder's combat unit. The redhead quickly asks what to do with these guys. Simple. They dared to point blades at the cult leader. Not even death will stop these fools. Resting his hand on his chin, the gunslinger thinks their fighting spirit is impressive, and it'd be epic to have one of them on his side. Suddenly, something catches his eye. As he walks slowly, he grabs the attention of the fifth elder, who asks what he's up to. Taking light steps, he approaches one of the guys, who looks like a kid. His shaky hands just scream, "Not ready for this." Soon, our protagonist raises his hand and pulls off the mask, revealing a crying, scared kid. This shocks him and makes him furious. Flashing back to the past, we see him in the orphanage, a beggar losing cash. The adult next to him asks why he doesn't ask properly, saying he doesn't look miserable enough. The bearded man says he better step it up or he'll end up breaking a leg. Our protagonist, as a skinny kid, says he'll do his best and apologizes. Then, in a moment of kindness, he kneels before the girl. He calls her up and asks if there are any other kids her age. The young girl quickly shakes her head, saying there aren't any. As he gets up, one of the henchmen calls her dumb for forgetting her job. He orders her to take out the protagonist, but the gunslinger doesn't play around and fires a bullet right into the guy's head for interrupting. Kim, trying to be nice, tells her to just keep her eyes closed from now on. Exhausted, he grumbles about how these cowards hand knives to kids and send them off to do the dirty work. With a fierce look, he questions if they even remember what it means to be human. Holding the little girl's hand, he tells the fifth elder to handle the mess while he takes the girl away. He gives his final order, make sure the rest are taken out brutally, and if they can, burn them alive. A bit later, we see the carriage where our protagonist is chilling. The little girl is now with some tough guys who are escorting her. The redhead smiles, thinking the cult leader has a soft side, even if he looks all scary. Soon, he glances at the girl and calls her over. With a creepy smile, he asks for her name. The young girl, scared out of her mind, starts to cry, looking totally lost. The fifth elder tries to apologize, realizing the protagonist is ready to go full-on protective mode for the kid. Kim reassures her that she doesn't need to stress and should just sit back and relax. The girl, fidgeting with her fingers, thanks them for saving her, but doesn't think she'll be much help. Feeling bold, she says she'll do whatever they ask and will totally crush it. Our protagonist says he kept her alive, but she doesn't need to do anything wild for that. So, he throws her a curveball and asks what she thinks she should do. Our little assassin says she just needs to play. Kids are pros at that. They eat well and do everything to keep the adults who care about them happy. When they roll up to the cult, the elders call for the cult leader, asking if he's back. Seeing him, they ask if he's hurt, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good." The third elder spots the little girl and waves her over. He realizes she's super cute and decides to ask for a favor. He says he'll stick around for a bit and that the elder should set up a cozy spot for her to crash. Out of nowhere, The protagonist's adorable puppy trots over, but it totally ignores him, confused about the lack of love. Unbothered, the little dog stops in front of the young girl, who's totally smitten by its cuteness. She reaches out her hand to the little fur ball and smiles, loving it when it licks her hand. The protagonist chuckles at the scene, while everyone else is just baffled by the gunslinger's soft side. He starts massaging his shoulder, saying he'll ask the third elder to look after the girl while he catches some Z's, but remembers to ask her name. She says her name is number 121, given by the Black Blood cult, which doesn't do names. The gunslinger pauses for a sec and proposes a deal. From now on, she'll be called Haru, which totally impresses her. It doesn't mean much, but it's just Haru. He tells her to live it up there. The girl finds herself in a white field and, crying happy tears, promises to live as joyfully as she can. Kim smiles, feeling good, but then the second ocean interrupts, saying he got a letter from Clan Hao that needs immediate reading. The protagonist unfolds the scroll and calls on the fifth ocean, telling them to gear up for a long adventure to find a new shield of flesh. In the dim room, he reads the scroll calmly, written by Maengi, the chief of the Haoman province. The first mention is the group of 36 acres of forest, which is against the Mangu sect. Having these enemies is a hassle since their numbers are huge. The 36 families and over 100 masters make a serious force, including Yujin Yak, one of the top dogs on the continent. The protagonist thinks it's tough to gauge, but if they're on his side, they'll be a massive help. He flops onto the bed, wondering what to do next, and eventually drifts off to sleep. Soon, someone calls for the master at dawn. It's the fifth elder, along with the kid, saying all the journey prep is done. As he tries to say good morning, the protagonist slaps the giant in the face. He sits up saying he couldn't catch any sleep because he was too hyped about leaving and asks why the kid is there. She glances to the side, waiting for the elder to answer. He says he just wanted to see the master's face when he woke up. Ignoring this, Kim asks if they're ready, and the answer is a loud yes. The elder pulls out a weird cloak, all set for the occasion. The protagonist, scrunching his face, says it looks like something out of a fairy tale. The young girl thinks it's gorgeous, hyping up the protagonist and the brute. Kim, after a moment of silence, decides to rock the outfit, and it fits him perfectly, matching his vibe. The brute yells with excitement when he sees the cloak looks awesome on the protagonist, and the kid chimes in with praise. Before long, he strides ahead, telling them to hurry up already. The little girl calls out to the leader, who asks what's up. She says while he was snoozing, she played as much as she could and warns him to watch out on the journey. The gunslinger says that's cool, and she should keep playing until he gets back. When they reach the carriage, he mentions it's getting late and questions the amount of luggage since it's just the two of them. Suddenly, the third elder pops up and says she's coming along because she thinks it'll be an epic journey. Kim asks why she's tagging along, and she replies that she knows the trail well and it's better to avoid any drama. The guy thinks 3 heads are better than just the fifth elder, but then wonders if she's really going in that flashy outfit. She nods, confirming it. The boy comments that it seems a bit much, which slightly annoys her. A bit later, everyone's in the carriage, and the protagonist asks if they're headed the right way. The redhead says they can't go straight since the second commander's HQ is nearby. The protagonist suggests meeting the head honcho first, but the elder explains that none of them are tight with him, so it's better to roll up to the second commander without any heads up. Soon, the protagonist asks what the second commander is like, and the elder says they'll find out together. The horse starts to tire from the long trek. The protagonist asks what's up, and the answer is they've been chatting too much. The elder suggests they camp there for the night and grab some dinner. After a bit, the elder asks if the food is good for the master, and he says yes, it's bomb. Suddenly, some trees and bushes start rustling. The third and fifth elders go on high alert. A person approaches, apologizing and begging for food because she's starving. The third elder, arms crossed, feels a bad vibe. The girl, with arms like a superhero, has her stomach growling and says it's not cool to deny someone food during dinner. But judging by her state, she figures she must be on the run and that it's better not to stick around too long. The blonde apologizes and says she'll just eat quickly and then bounce. She comments that the spot is really nice, and the protagonist wonders if she's lost it. The girl introduces herself as Songran and says she'll pay back the kindness with food. The elder tells her to forget that and, if she's done, to scram quickly since things could get dicey. She apologizes again and says she'll get up and leave fast. As she says goodbye, she wishes them a good dinner. They realize she's in a hurry because she's devoured everything they had. The elder says she'll whip up more food and tells the master to chill in the carriage, which he agrees to. When they arrive, he gets ready to open the door but hears horse hooves behind him. Looking back, he sees a squad of guys approaching, looking like an army. A dude with a mustache and beard holds up a poster and asks if he's seen this woman. The protagonist recognizes the blonde from the flyer. In his head, he thinks they're not good people for using such rude language and draws their attention. But then he changes his mind, sighs, and decides to let it go, trying to chill to avoid any drama. He turns and says he doesn't know anyone like that, wrapping it up by saying he's tired and wants to be left alone. But, shockingly, the soldier starts getting heated, veins popping on his face. He asks if this crazy dude knows who he's talking to and if he's asking for trouble. Our protagonist, already annoyed, asks if he knows who he is, but then a voice chimes in saying they've never seen such a person. It's the third elder who shows up, saying they should part ways and not invade others' space for no reason. If the guards don't back off, they might end up in a blood rain they definitely don't want to face. The guard, sensing the tension, gulps hard. He says everything's chill and now that they've confirmed stuff, they gotta check the carriage. The woman asks the leader if that's cool. Our protagonist claims he's never seen anyone like her, but sensing something off, he'll show what's inside the carriage. When he opens it, silence hits, and we hear something moving around. It's the blonde, who realizes she showed up earlier than planned and says she was just being careful. With a giggle, she says she didn't plan to stick around, but never mentions where she was headed, leaving the protagonist speechless. He, looking all kinds of suspicious, wonders why she's still hanging out instead of bouncing. The guard jumps in, asking if they're really going to get diplomatic immunity. He knew this was coming. He never trusted them. It's obviously an invasion of their turf. Drawing his sword, he declares they're invaders on their land. Then he yells, ordering his crew to grab these people right now. The others start moving toward the protagonist, with some serious bad vibes, especially toward the blonde. Our protagonist starts fiddling with his gear, saying nothing else matters now. He's hyped for the fight. With a grin, he says they can't dodge this anymore. The third elder tries to ask for one last chat, but our protagonist cuts him off, saying it's too late. Then, something heavy drops between them. It's the fifth elder, who says these guys are way too loud. With a glare, he asks who they think they're drawing swords against. Our protagonist calls out to the fifth elder, who responds with a grin. Both decide to wrap this up, sporting some seriously creepy smiles. The redhead charges at one of the guys. He tries to say they just wanted the woman, not a brawl, but gets interrupted by the fifth elder's foot smashing into his face. Taking advantage of the chaos, he grabs the saddle of a horse and gets ready. Soon, he jumps up, using the horse's movement to grab another guy's head, wearing a psychotic smile that's hard to see through his dark vibe. The general thinks these lunatics are causing total mayhem and needs to bounce fast to get back up and save his crew. The fifth elder gets even angrier seeing him run off, ditching his squad. Meanwhile, a flash of light zips past them. The bearded man, with a cheeky grin, says they're fools for not attacking while watching their enemies. He claims that once he reaches the mountaintop, he'll end the chaos. But before he can finish, a bullet goes right through his head. The horse stops dead in its tracks. The guy riding it falls off, spilling ketchup everywhere. Our protagonist is dead serious, gun still smoking. The third elder says that was a dumb move. Messing with a military dude is trouble. Even martial artists know this can mess up their world. But our protagonist, grinning, asks what they just did. He drops a famous saying from his place, if no one's watching, then it's just a party. So, they're there, but also not, and the woman realizes this is oddly convincing. Soon, the boy claims he found a direct way to reach the general, asking her to check out the paper right there. As she leans in, she wonders what she's supposed to see, until she spots a weird description about the 36 acres of forest. The blonde asks what just went down, since she's never seen anything like that. The third elder realizes she's the general's daughter. She mentions that the officer following her suddenly bit the dust, and the boy asks her to keep quiet about what she saw. The girl thanks him, saying she'll never forget his kindness and will repay it. But the protagonist says she doesn't need to go all out, leaving her puzzled. Startled, the girl hears him say he'd like to meet her dad, and she thinks the gunslinger is into guys. When they arrive at the spot, the blonde says her crew will make sure they're guided. The protagonist looks up, curious, thinking there are really people living in rough conditions. Suddenly, two people approach and ask if she knows how far she wandered alone. Being generous, she laughs, apologizes, and says she wanted to try a bunch of new things. The woman asks who her companions are, and the blonde replies that they just saved her life, which makes the 36 Acres crew happy. They thank them for looking out for the young mistress, but then freeze when they hear they want to meet her dad. They exchange glances, thinking they can't just let strangers in. Things could get messy. The beggar, though, says there's no need to stress, because the folks with her are solid. She steps up and asks them to show her the way to her dad. The fifth elder is totally impressed by how massive the place is. Before long, they reach the spot they were told about. The protagonist wonders why the entrance is so huge. The hall doors swing open and everyone struts in like they own the place. He feels the weight of the dude's words who says he heard his daughter got saved by him, but is curious about why. The gunslinger is left wondering where this info came from since he can't see anyone around. Behind him, the blonde chimes in, saying they're searching for him for nothing. The protagonist takes in the scene and thinks about how a guy can be so intimidating. The third elder introduces herself, saying the man is the leader of the Mongu clan, and he's heard of him. With long strides, the leader says his curiosity brought him here. Once seated, he questions that statement, wanting to know what's up with the visit. The protagonist shrugs it off, saying it's nothing major, just wants to throw down against the Murim alliance and needs a meat shield, some backup. He spills that he's aiming to rule the martial arts world. The old man laughs, leaving the protagonist scratching his head at the giant's booming voice. The man says he's not a fan of the Murim alliance, but wonders why he'd help someone with no ties. Suddenly, one of the guys steps up, forgetting to drop some news. Whispering, he spills some info. The protagonist is confused until he hears an okay from the man. His eyes light up, and he says that's actually awesome news. Getting up, the man strides over to the boy with heavy steps. The protagonist feels the giant's overwhelming vibe as they stand face to face. Kim jumps back, noticing a movement, and tries to pull his weapon, thinking it's a trap. But nah, it's just a friendly handshake from the man, who says there's no need to feel awkward. Now, the blonde gets why he's really here. He says he'll let the boy marry his daughter without any hassle. The old man says he'll make sure his daughter ties the knot with the protagonist. Noticing the young man's silence, he figures he's not into his daughter. The gunslinger, serious and quiet, responds with a classic obscene gesture, showing he's not down for that. But the blonde, coming from a different culture, doesn't get the signal and asks if that's a yes. The third elder quickly covers the protagonist's mouth before he can say something wild and suggests a private chat. The choice isn't easy, and they need time. The old man, realizing the marriage is on the line, gives them an hour to think it over. The group sits at the table, all staring at each other. The redhead, feeling the heat, sweats coldly while glancing at his brother. The woman asks the master what he's thinking, and he replies that he can't marry someone he doesn't know. The third elder thinks that's ridiculous, but they need to act fast to keep the power of Nokrim and decides to handle it. Suddenly, an alarm grabs the protagonist's attention. He opens his phone and sees a message about teaming up with the 36 houses of Nokrim. With a serious look, he thinks about the possibilities. The elder says she'll sort it out, but he cuts her off, smiling, saying he's got another plan. Standing up confidently, he calls his friend, ready to tackle the situation his way. The trio faces the giant again to hash things out. The blonde asks if he's made a decision, and the protagonist replies that he can't marry the general's daughter. The blonde questions if the girl doesn't meet his standards, and the protagonist says it's not that shallow. He switches gears, suggesting they need a bond to work together. He then proposes they become sworn brothers. The old man, confused, asks if he really wants that, and the protagonist nods. The blonde laughs, saying the boy is unpredictable, but he's not interested in that since they're on equal ground. He wonders if the leader of the Mongu clan can really keep up. The protagonist doesn't have much to say, so he throws out a bet to make sure of it. The blonde, intrigued, asks what kind of fun it'll be. The protagonist explains it's called Capture the Flag, where two teams go head-to-head to snag the enemy's flag. If they win, they become sworn brothers, having each other's backs. If they lose, he'll grant any wish, even a tie. The blonde thinks it over, saying he can't judge something like that just like that. The protagonist, confident, asks if he's scared. The man, totally skeptical, takes the bet but with a twist. If he wins, the protagonist has to marry his daughter and officially join the family. Noticing the boy's face drop, the blonde asks if he's scared of the whole marriage thing. Fast forward, we see the protagonist's crew guarding their flag. The leader thought the general was a wild bear, but turns out he's more of a sly fox. He's all in, saying he needs to win, no matter what. The bet is about capturing the flag, not just playing defense. So the strongest dude is probably going to come for it himself. Kim wonders how long the fifth elder can hold off that giant. The redhead thinks for a sec and says maybe 15 minutes, if it's a fight to the death. Our protagonist is shook, realizing the giant's strength is so insane that the fifth elder can't handle it. He figures the only plan is to grab the flag in at least 15 minutes. Kim calls over his buddy, who jumps to it. He explains that when the signal goes off, she needs to sprint to the flag, dodging the opponents and, if possible, running away from them. He'll handle the enemies on the way, making sure she can move forward. Soon the signal blasts, a loud horn blares. Kim tells the third elder to start running as fast as she can. She bolts, leaving the two guys in the dust. Kim calls out to the fifth elder, saying he has to hold on for as long as he can, even if it costs him everything. The man gets it and gets ready. Kim starts running, thinking he's almost there, but wonders why it's so quiet since he's heading in the right direction. Suddenly, his instincts kick in, and he notices something off. As a precaution, he leans against a tree for a better view. Looking ahead, he sees he's all alone, while the other three have moved toward the flag. He seizes the moment and bolts to grab the enemy target, but quickly realizes he should have followed the third elder, who's MIA. He's walked right into a trap. Out of nowhere, the blonde pops up, catching Kim off guard. He tries to react, but the giant's heavy hand slams into his chest. The impact sends a shockwave, and a powerful gust of energy sends him flying. Kim crashes into a tree, nearly breaking his back. Lying there, he hears the blonde say he had high hopes for his martial arts skills, but now he's just let down. He apologizes for not being able to help his buddies while he waits to be entertained. Looking ahead, Kim thinks the blonde is the biggest obstacle he's faced in this new world. Realizing this isn't fun anymore, the man decides to bounce, saying he'll go find the others to wrap this up. Kim pleads with him not to leave, insisting the real fun hasn't even kicked off yet. Without a weapon, Kim knows he's toast against the giant, and aiming with a blood-filled eye is gonna be tough. The blonde, all cocky, asks if this is the secret martial art of the Mongu clan, acting like it's some kind of activation condition. Suddenly, a noise approaches. The old man is holding the head of the third elder, who tried to sneak attack him. He squeezes her head until it bleeds, questioning if he really didn't give her a shot. With a tight grip, the mammoth claims that with skills that weak, she wouldn't even touch him. Seeing her really wanted to attack him makes him squeeze a little harder. Kim realizes his ribs are hurting and needs to get up fast to help his friend. Out of nowhere, the fifth elder shows up, delivering a massive punch to the general, making him spit blood. The impact kicks up a huge cloud of dust, and the fifth elder grins, thinking he wouldn't find someone with that kind of strength here. The redhead shouts for the leader and the elder, asking if they're good. Confused, Kim asks what he did with the flag. The elder replies that he followed the noise, worried about the leader, which annoys him. Realizing this, our protagonist freaks out about losing, since he's unprotected, and wonders if he should shoot more at the giant. Suddenly the blonde says the flag should still be where it was, since the brute came solo. Freaked out, the protagonist realizes the giant trusts his own strength more than teamwork. The redhead insists that no matter how strong he is, he can't win alone. Then, he starts striding toward the opponent, picking up speed. He shouts that the giant will be the reason for the general's defeat. The blonde snaps back, calling him a total jerk for thinking that way. Then, he suggests they settle this with some good old-fashioned fists, and the redhead is totally down. The older dude winds up for a massive punch and slams it into the wall in front of him. But the blonde just laughs, thinking that's not nearly enough to quench his thirst for a fight. A punch lands right in the redhead's gut, who's gotta keep it together. With hair flopping everywhere, the redhead spits out ketchup, but his eyes, burning with determination, lock onto the general. He unleashes a fierce kick to the blonde's chin. With slick moves, the guy keeps charging, even after taking a hit, and lands another punch on the beast in front of him. The demon, acting like a true martial artist, still stands strong. Both are at their peak, ready to throw down, but there's a mutual respect there. Their punches create shockwaves that ripple through the area, visible from way far away. The older guy realizes this power is no joke and starts sweating bullets. Out of nowhere, 2 punches come flying at his head. He goes down, spitting more ketchup everywhere. Above him, the giant says this still isn't enough. He tells him to get up so he doesn't ruin the respect he has for the younger one and dares him to come at him with everything. But then, a loud bang and a weird pain hit him. A shot nails his thigh. The protagonist says that's a rookie mistake for turning your back on someone armed. He admits it's his fault for underestimating him. The elder chuckles, realizing his master's secret weapon actually worked. The blonde claims this is some mysterious martial art, hitting him from a distance without even moving. But even though it's powerful, the hit didn't do much damage, and the younger one still can't grab the flag. The protagonist scratches his head with the weapon, thinking the blonde is a total monster, impossible to beat. But there's always that one rock that, if you hit it enough times, will eventually crack. If he keeps targeting that weak spot, the rock that seemed unbreakable will finally give way. The man doesn't get the protagonist's analogy. Then, he uses his weak leg to prop himself up and charges, daring the gunslinger to show him what he's got. The protagonist promises to break it down for the old man, so he fires off several shots at the brute. Wrapping up his explanation, he says if he hits that spot again with serious force, it'll be game over. The blonde feels something off in his leg and drops to the ground, while ketchup keeps spilling out. Quickly, the protagonist tells the fifth elder to run for the flag. The blonde realizes he totally underestimated those kids. We see the fifth elder sprinting toward the flag ahead of him. But with a simple leap, the giant shows up saying he'll apologize properly. He lands in front of the redhead, shaking the ground around him, claiming he'll give it his all for the rest of the match, so he doesn't underestimate them. Then he shoots forward like an arrow at the opponent, landing a punch right in the gut. With that initial hit, he gears up for another punch while his opponent is sent flying. Quickly closing in, the long-haired dude with a beard throws another punch at the fifth elder. The impact sends the redhead flying several meters until he crashes into a nearby rock. He starts spitting blood from the sheer brutality of the hit and the impact. With a confident grin, the old man asks if this still looks like a bluff now that he's using all his strength. Suddenly, he spots something coming from the battlefield. It's the protagonist racing toward the flag to win the game, but the blonde drops in above him, asking where he thinks he's going with all that confidence. Kim wonders where that speed is coming from. Disappointed, the old man says it was fun, but it doesn't seem enough for someone claiming to be the martial arts champ. He decides to wait and see what it'll take to reveal the true face of the protagonist. We see a flashback of Kim chilling in his bed. The gunslinger pulls out his phone, wondering what the reward is for taking down the fifth elder. Holding it, he questions how he'll use this in battle. Playing it up, he says he didn't know he'd have to pull a trump card like that. Confused, the old man looks up, wondering what that gadget is. Incredibly, the young man plays one last card, a light bomb aimed at the old man, revealing that what he used is pure science. The muscle-bound guy asks what the protagonist just did. As he opens his eyes, everything's blurry as he rushes toward the flag. Our hero claims this has been the most fun he's had so far. After all, his science trump card is one of a kind in this world. In conclusion, he says he'll count on the old man from now on. The protagonist stands up, victory symbol in hand, saying he totally captured the flag, locking in his win. But the old man stays quiet, looking all serious. Confused, the protagonist asks if he's not going to keep his promise. The blonde laughs, saying the leader of the Mongu clan is a real riot, entertaining him more than anyone else. Walking over, he says a promise is a promise and he's sticking to it. He tells his brother to look after him. The protagonist, a bit skeptical, goes along with it. Then they shake hands, sealing a new bond. But the young man feels the grip is way too tight and asks why. Soon the old man wants to be called Big Brother, which annoys the protagonist. He sighs, looking serious and a bit intense, saying he'll do his best to keep the blonde happy. With a grimace, he calls him Big Brother. Night falls, and the old man declares it's a great day for them. He tells everyone to raise a glass, since now the famous Mongu clan is family in a totally legit way. Everyone throws their hands up, hyped, and starts shouting the name of the protagonist's clan. Kim, watching the scene, wonders if the old man is really okay after all those hits in the fight. Then, he notices something and asks where the third elder is. The redhead says she wasn't feeling great and went to chill in her room for the night. Our protagonist thinks that makes sense, since she got seriously hurt in the battle. The older woman stares out the window, looking sad, her face twisted with guilt. In her thoughts, she feels useless and thinks she held back her beloved leader. Suddenly, a voice breaks in, asking if the third is around. She turns and says the leader can come in. Soon, our protagonist asks why she's alone and lost in thought. She says she's fine, stating that the chief held back so he wouldn't hurt her too badly. Her wounds are already healing. He thinks that's good and tells her not to stress about whatever comes next. But as he leaves, he hears her mumbling an apology to the master. Kim, curious, asks what she's on about. She explains that she couldn't help and feels weak. The boy insists she doesn't need to feel that way. The opponent was a total beast. Everyone faces struggles in life and it's cool to stumble. The key is to get back up, brush off the dirt, and keep moving without beating yourself up. One day he'll challenge his brother again, and it's awesome that she's getting stronger, pushing those feelings of uselessness aside so she doesn't ruin her pretty face. He says goodbye, and with his words, Kim leaves the third elder blushing and thankful. As he steps out, he spots the two brutes chilling together. The old man calls his brother to grab a drink, saying he and the elder have had one too many. Our protagonist thinks about resting instead of jumping into that mess, but as he walks away, he hears them doubting he can drink. They've never seen him take a sip, thinking he must have a weak taste for booze. Kim decides to join in and says he'll have a little with them, but he passes out after less than a glass. The next morning, the old man says the gunslinger can hit him up whenever he needs help. He'll always have his little brother's back, whether it's food, cash, or whatever. Before the group heads out, his daughter has something for Kim. Blushing, she says she plans to give this only to a guy she really likes. Our protagonist stays quiet, while the fifth elder jokes that he's a famous dude, wanted by so many girls. Kim gets a gift, and the woman insists he takes it, but she ends up giving it to the fifth elder, showing her crush on him. She says she did this on her own and hopes that, even if it's not a hit, it fills his belly. The redhead apologizes, saying he might not be able to accept since the clan leader is there. With a grin, he says he can't waste food and ends up accepting, realizing his friend is being super awkward. Upon arriving at the sect, everyone sees the protagonist is back safe and sound, no injuries. But as he walks in, he notices something off. He wonders who that really fat person is, since he's never seen anyone like that. The third elder claims she's never known how to have fun, so he, fatter than ever, says he's given her plenty of fun with loads of food. We see a time jump where the main character is chilling in bed, calling for his puppy, and asking if he had a blast. A voice from behind the door apologizes for the late-night call, but says someone traveled a long way to see him. Curious, the main character asks who it is and tells them to come in. The person steps in quietly, saying sorry for showing up so late. She mentions she brought an urgent letter from his dad, which is why she came solo. Realizing she sprinted all the way there, he asks to check out the message. Looking at the paper, he wonders about this mysterious Nansen League mentioned. Cut to a remote spot where it's pitch black, but the lights from the houses are still glowing. A dude, with a buddy, gets a proposal from a street worker but turns it down. They arrive at a place and stop in front of a door. Ringing the bell, they call for the attendant, who pops up quick. He greets them and asks who they're looking for. The dude says, more importantly, he's looking for some familiar faces who are here for the night. He explains that some haven't paid in ages and think they can keep drinking for free just because they're known. The older guy drops a bag of coins on the table, hoping it'll be enough. He's the leader of the Gorian faction's crew, the next big thing for the upcoming generation. The receptionist says that's the room they're looking for. When he opens the door, he sees a wasted guy with two others, begging for more booze. Spotting the leader, the drunk dude says it's great to see him again and asks if he brought anything to drink before the execution. The bearded man gets furious at the disciple's cockiness. He calls over his buddy and insists he must have taken his first impressions, getting a yes in return. He orders him to hit up all nearby villages to find out everything about who's messed with his juniors. He even needs to put up posters to get the word out to the locals. The third elder is described as handsome and strong, but he avoids complicated situations. The others check out the poster of the third elder and realize she's a symbol of virtue, but her situation makes everything trickier. One of them must be the mastermind behind all this. This is our main character, who convinced them they were guilty. In the meeting, he says he went over the letter from Noklim Chongchaiju. He says they need to hit up the Ronin Association and find someone who can help, asking what kind of place that is. The second guy explains it's a crew of mercenaries with no ties to any orthodox or unorthodox sects. The reason they have no alliances is simple. They don't fit into groups, left by circumstances or by choice. Or maybe they're just so strong they don't need a crew. They decide to roll as mercenaries to make cash and live chill. They could become a major force on their side, but it'd be risky if they turned into enemies. The second guy wraps up by saying having their help could be reckless. The boy thinks and remembers they do everything for cash. So, he says the best move is to offer something more valuable than money, and the bearded man asks what that could be. The main character smirks, already knowing what's up. With a sly grin, he says, threats are the best play in this situation. Everyone is shocked by such a wild statement. Our main character believes nothing in this world is worth more than cash, but there's something that beats it, the value of life itself. If they can dominate the martial arts world, they can wipe out both allies and enemies. The other team might offer cash, but few will take it if it costs their lives. If they propose fair compensation to the allies, they'll still have plenty of loyal followers. The second elder doesn't fully disagree, but questions how they'll get that much cash, since there's no proper compensation. The main character replies that their lives are already the compensation, leaving the elder confused. The first elder thinks this is foolishness, as they won't be giving anything to the allies. Quickly, the main character shifts gears and tells the third and fifth elders to get ready for another journey. The woman raises her hand, apologizing, saying she doesn't think she can join them this time. The main character worries about leaving her behind, but she explains that she realized during the journey that she can't help the cult leader with her current strength. He had already told her not to feel useless, and she agrees but wants to get stronger on her own and go on a training journey. When they come back, they'll be stronger, and the main character gets it but insists he'll need someone else in her spot. He thinks about bringing the second elder, but he's all, sorry, I'm tied up with the Mongu clan stuff, can't bail. Realizing how crucial it is to keep him around, the protagonist thinks it over and decides to grab one of the two less useful elders. He points to the fourth elder, saying he'll roll with them. Out of nowhere, the first elder yells that he can't help on this trip and tells the fourth elder to watch out and protect the protagonist. Annoyed, Kim's got thoughts of taking him out right then and there. The carriage rolls on with the crew, and the blonde decides to tag along. The protagonist asks why, and she's all, I can help the fifth elder. The redhead cracks up, saying the leader's brother's daughter asked, so he's got no choice. The coachman shouts that they've hit their destination. As they hop out, the protagonist thinks the place looks super sketchy for a mercenary hangout and wonders if they're in the right spot. The fifth elder confirms it is, revealing it's the place mentioned in the letter from the protagonist's brother. He figures someone's going to show them the way. From a tree, Someone's watching and getting ready to shoot an arrow at the protagonist. The fourth elder spots something, ducks down, and takes the hit in his rib, blood spilling everywhere. Someone mutters that this is a letdown, and the fifth elder steps up, asking who's lurking around. The unknown figure says he thought Kim would be tougher since he's a guest of his master, but clearly he can't even dodge an arrow. He warns that if Kim tries to step into the Nangan Association, he'll be toast. The protagonist watches him with disgust, wondering if everyone here is really that nuts. The fifth elder, all serious, asks who's attacking them, and they find out it's their guide. But the long-haired dude says no matter how they look, he feels they're gonna bite the dust if they try to enter the association. Our gunslinger jumps in front of the fifth elder and says if he's the one guiding them, he better do it right. Someone like that should focus on the mission instead of yapping. The newcomer notices the protagonist's pride, but says there's a catch to entering. Someone's gotta prove their skills and pass a test. Our gunslinger stays quiet but seems to be on board. Behind him, the fat guy's struggling with the pain from the arrow. Quickly, the man says the test is easy and tells them to check it out. They need to hit the target up ahead. The protagonist asks why it's such an obvious target, and the newcomer says it's not that simple. He reveals there's another target hiding behind the first one. The protagonist freezes, realizing he has to hit one target while dodging another. The man, seeing Kim's confusion, decides to show how it's done. He readies his bow, aims with precision, and shoots an arrow at lightning speed, catching the gunslinger's attention. The arrow swoops down and hits the second target, missing the first. The impact is so strong that the object shakes. With a confident grin, the man says it's a piece of cake, and if they can pull it off, he'll guide them no problem. Then, he hands the bow to the protagonist, who declines, saying he'll use his own style to get in. Our boy points his weapon at the target. The guide realizes he's never seen a weapon like that before. A loud shot echoes, hitting only the first target. Someone bursts out laughing. It's the guide, who chuckles, saying he could never pull that off with such a basic tool. He tells the protagonist not to sweat it. Not everyone can nail that kind of shot right away. But then, more shots ring out, catching the long-haired man's attention. Our protagonist keeps firing, emptying his magazine. The gunslinger calls out to the boy, asking if he really fulfilled the deal. The long-haired man tries to dodge the question, but our protagonist insists he only needed to hit the back target. No one said he had to hit the front one first. He then turns around, ordering them to lead the way to the Ronin Association. Totally tense, the guide agrees but says it's super late, so they'll head out in the morning. After a bit, the night gets darker. Footsteps approach a group, questioning if this is the spot where they saw our protagonist. As one of them steps up, someone shouts for his attention. It's the guide, asking where they rolled in from, since his master wasn't expecting more guests. With his hand on his quiver, he's all curious about who they are and what's up. Out of nowhere, the oldest dude takes charge and tells the archer he's with the Kunlun crew. He heard some peeps they're hunting just showed up and wanted to double-check the scoop. You can totally see the guide deciding to do a little background check before anything else. The woman on the poster? Unforgettable, straight up stunning. The dude on the next flyer? Clearly invited to the party. And the last poster? Yeah, that's the guy who was acting all weird before crashing in. The vibe is tense, like there's some drama brewing. But since they're direct guests of the master, they gotta tread lightly. The young guy asks why he's not getting a response, and the answer is, there's no reason to. Confused, the bearded dude presses on, saying he can't make things messier. The reply? He just doesn't feel like sharing. Switching gears, he mentions this is a private spot, and if they're done with their business, they can bounce. The old man, catching on, figures these guys might actually be hiding in the house they're about to enter. The pressure in the air thickens, making it feel even more intense. Just then, someone rolls in. Our protagonist, who was trying to catch some Z's, asks what all the noise is about. With a grimace, the man says he was trying to cover for them, but everything blew up because of this wild dude. Checking out the newcomers, the escort leader orders the wanted posters to be brought out. He realizes the long-haired guy is exactly who he's been hunting, and the other one next to him, probably the gang leader thereafter. Our protagonist stays quiet, staring at the ridiculous drawing, while hearing that the looks really match. The gunslinger, all serious and ticked off, calls him a punk and asks how he resembles that guy. Soon, judging by their threads, he figures they're the same ones who were causing chaos in the district and asks if they're looking for revenge. The leader then says these guys totally wrecked his disciples a few days back. As the senior, he's got to step up and handle this like a true big bro. But our protagonist shoots back that he should pay more attention, since it was his juniors who kicked this whole mess off. After getting wrecked, they went crying straight to their senior. He questions why he'd do that, since it's a total dishonor for a man. The bearded young man chimes in, saying that's not the case. They were jumped by some newcomers. If their faction's rep takes a hit, it's going to be a huge problem, and that's why he's stepping in. Our protagonist notices their cockiness and tells them to throw down for real to see who's the strongest. The elder, annoyed, says the kid's confidence is off the charts and that he'll be begging for mercy, but he won't help him. Then he charges in with all his might, telling him to meet his end. Suddenly, a fist comes flying at him, faster than he thought. With his blade, he manages to block the heavy hit, but that punch is no joke, and the impact sends him skidding back, dragging across the ground. The fifth elder, grinning, says he's got orders to follow and shouldn't rush in so fast. The other disciples are like, how dare he mess with his senior brother? But in less than a second, a bullet zips through and hits one of them in the head, taking him out instantly. The ally doesn't even catch what happened as his buddy's body flies back in a horrifying way. Seeing this, the newcomer can only wonder what just went down. Our protagonist, with the smoking gun, says this is a one-on-one showdown between men, and they can't interfere, even if they want to. Realizing the stakes, the elder agrees to the terms of the fight, so he charges at the fifth elder for a real duel. After taking the hit, the redhead comments that the speed isn't too shabby, but then throws a powerful punch back. He says there's a lack of strength and practice in his fighting style. Noticing the arrogance of his opponent, he decides to show the younger one how to really take someone out. Then, he gets ready to unleash the secret technique of the Kunlun clan. This is the cut that splits the light of the sword. With his arm bleeding, we hear the elder let out a light sigh, assuming he's feeling a bit of a burn from the hit. Irritated, the senior states he won't be smiling after what he's about to do to his face. But our protagonist suddenly catches his attention with a wild strike coming his way. Soon he's questioning where the guy's looking, why the confidence. The boy realizes he dodged that sudden attack, but still got hit in the neck. Let's see if he can dodge the next one just as slick. Confused, the older dude asks how he dares to act this way in a one-on-one. The protagonist shrugs, saying he doesn't care. The battlefield's always unfair, and rules. What rules? Noticing the weird weapon, the man thinks he won't dodge in his current state. He raises his hand, saying if the protagonist's a martial artist, he should know the honor of a fight. The protagonist just laughs. Asking if he looks like an artist, he says he's just a killer. Getting called a killer. He says they'll meet again in hell when the man bites the dust. The elder tries to move forward, asking not to make him laugh. But with a quick shot, he and his weapon drop to the ground, hit hard. The shot grazed his shoulder, and the protagonist claims he's lucky. After all, he's a killer. But he's not a murderer right now, so he'll let him live. Giving a final warning, he says if the man comes after him again, Kim will make a hole in his head and tells him to nod if he gets it. The elder, sweating bullets, curses the protagonist. A heavy voice then calls the older man a bastard, saying he ordered the kid to be taken out ages ago. He questions why he's still breathing. Turns out this is the main elder of the Kunlun clan. He tries to explain it's not what it seems, but gets cut off. The bearded man asks if he ever got permission to speak. The protagonist wonders who this old dude is that just showed up. He says it's all over and asks why he's here, which gets answered with the claim that, thanks to his authority, the kids in his family have been hurt. The problem only ends when he says it's over. The gunslinger thinks this is ridiculous and asks how he plans to take revenge. The man grins psychotically and says it's simple. Rip the protagonist's head off, and boom, problem solved. Loading his weapon, the protagonist asks if the old man's got the skills for that. The man insists it's better not to use that kind of weapon against him, saying it seems basic and shows weakness. Assuming the firearm is powerful but only attacks in one direction, he says if he can predict where it's coming from, he can block it easily. The protagonist tells him to give it a shot. Firing, we see the old man already in position to block the shot, but the protagonist hits the elder in front of him instead of the old man. With both shoulders bleeding, the man asks why he got hit so hard if the target was the old dude. With a psychotic grin, the boy replies that the man said he could block his bullet, so he figured what was in front of him could do the same. Realizing the boy's insanity, the older man gets even more desperate. The protagonist says there's no common sense in thinking one can block a bullet. He's seen people say that, and they all end up the same way, shot and dead. He tells his opponent to stay sharp and ready, firing metal toward the old man. But the man, with a bright look, clearly sees and splits the projectile in half. With a serious expression, he just stares at the gunpowder smell wafting to his nose. And with the bullet on the ground, he states he said that cleanly. Then, starting to laugh for blocking the protagonist's strike, he comments that it wasn't a big deal. The fifth elder, watching the scene, realizes this guy's a true monster for blocking an attack from his master. Kim, on the other hand, is in shock. After all, this dude did something that seemed impossible in his world. Sweating cold, he tries to convince himself it was just a fluke and aims again. But the old man declares it's his turn now and tells the protagonist to get ready as the sword flies toward his head. However, someone interrupts him, asking how he dares. It is the fourth elder who blocks the sword, saying it was just an insect landing on his skin. Behind him, the fifth elder leaps in like a beast, telling his bro to clean the blood off his skin. With a powerful downward attack, he strikes the ground, claiming he'll handle things from here. The old man has already moved far enough to keep himself safe, but from the cloud of smoke, the fifth elder pops up again, fierce as ever. He starts dueling the sword guy using only his fists. He's clearly strong, but then he realizes something that leaves him wide-eyed. His opponent is super fast and appears behind him, totally confusing him. He dodges the blade, but it's by a hair's breadth. Our protagonist knows this is a huge problem. Even the fifth elder's help might not cut it. They're moving so fast it's impossible to shoot. Suddenly, a thunderous sound comes in, breaking the sound barrier. Both elders notice and turn their attention to the projectile. Soon something is fired, hitting the middle of the battlefield and causing a massive explosion. The boy wonders what that was, as it's crazy powerful, almost like a bomb. When he looks closer, he's shocked to see it's just an arrow shooting lightning. He questions who could pull off such a slick attack. The elder asks who dared to crash his mission. Suddenly, a heavy voice says it's embarrassing for an elder to mess with kids, special guests of his brother. This dude claims he needs to take care of his disciples hiding around and suggests they should bounce. The other, however, says that makes no sense, as these are family matters he needs to settle right here. Facing the newcomer, he realizes it's a familiar figure. He notes that the man, carrying a bow, is seriously powerful. It's the dragon-slaying deity, who says it's time to spill blood on his turf. This monstrous figure, looking like a wall, starts moving slowly but with serious weight. The old man wonders why a legend of this level is here. The man, seeing the old man's face, thinks he must have an idea of who he is. But then he says if a bloodbath is needed to sort this out, he won't hesitate to deliver. The old man thought this guy had vanished into the martial arts world and died of old age. He questions how he's here, and the answer is he doesn't need to explain how it all ended. But he soon adds that the older he gets, the more he needs to sleep at night, laughing at the old man's face. The elder turns his back, ready to leave. Then he orders everyone to gear up, as they're bouncing right now. However, he warns the protagonist to remember one thing clearly. Those who dared to challenge him called him a venomous silk bug on fire. All whom he bit wished for death and felt agony like the fires of hell. Thus, the old man points his sword at the protagonist, saying this time he'll spare him out of respect for the elder named Gungshin, who just showed up. And the next time they meet, it'll end even worse. Our protagonist watches everyone leave in silence. He knows he can't let someone so dangerous walk away unpunished. The newcomer warns that he shouldn't stir up problems he can't handle. If he pulls the trigger, a continental war between the Kunlun clan and the sect will kick off. Trembling with rage, he calls his beloved disciple, questioning why he didn't bring him earlier and let this happen. The long-haired man tries to apologize, but the elder isn't having it and gets ready to attack. Our protagonist watches from afar, admiring how effective the bow is in physical combat. After a while, the elder approaches and asks why they came to the Ronin Association. The protagonist replies that it's nothing grand. He just wants to conquer the martial arts world of Murim. He's looking for allies to fight by his side, catching the elder's interest. The elder comments that his younger brother really sent someone interesting, Kim Gun, leader of the Mongu clan. With a smile, he questions if Kim really thinks he has the skills to conquer this world. After everything, he assures he'll take Kim to the spot, telling him to rest up for the journey tomorrow. The night passes and Kim, lying in bed, reflects. Someone has crossed a limit he never imagined. He wonders what monsters exist, since even the old man pulled off a crazy attack with a bow. He thought he could take anyone, but now he needs to rethink. At dawn, the older man asks if everyone's ready. The journey will be long and the carriage will take them, but Kim states that he's not going. He orders the fifth elder to gather allies, and the elders all, "What's the plan?" Kim spills the tea that while hunting for human shields he realized he needs something way cooler. The bearded dude asks, "What's that?" Kim drops the bomb that his bow and weapon are long range, but he needs to match the elder's strength. He asks the elder to teach him how to beef up. The elder raises an eyebrow, questioning the motive, clearly not vibing with the situation. The guy next to the master chuckles, saying it's no walk in the park being the disciple of the strongest dude with a bow. The giant smacks the disciple on the head, telling him to zip it. Kim pipes up that he's not looking to be a disciple, but he wonders if he's got any brotherly ties with the head of the Nokrim clan. The elder nods, and Kim drops the bomb that he's the younger bro of the elder's brother. Straight up he claims he's practically family being the youngest in the crew, so there's no reason not to teach his bro, right? It's the elder's duty to show the younger how to get strong. The hairy dude tries to argue that this logic is whack since Kim's younger than his master, but the man thinks having 3 brothers is pretty epic. Now, they're a squad that's got each other's backs. The old man warns that if he follows the map in the carriage, he'll find the Ronin's hideout. When he gets there, he's got to flash the symbol to get in. So everything's going to be better than he thinks, and the fifth elder thanks him on the spot. Tears in his eyes, he tells the master he'll be back soon with the job done, and our boy just wants him to bounce ASAP. The elder calls the protagonist the youngest, warning him he'll only get one shot. His training is going to be brutal. If he thinks the gunslinger's got no skills, that chance will vanish, and he'll teach nothing more. He asks if he's ready, and the answer is a loud yes. The man decides to drop a key technique for training. He explains that for long-range fighters, using tactics is a must. His image starts to blur from the insane speed. In that moment, he teaches how to keep a safe distance from the opponent, which is crucial for the fight. This way, the protagonist can hit the enemy's blind spot whenever. He'll need slick footwork to exploit the opponent's openings. Kim wonders why everyone in this world is so fast. The man shows a basic footwork drill. He's got to move forward and backward to keep distance from the enemy. Plus, he needs to slide sideways to sneak into the opponent's blind spots. After that, he asks if the dude can handle this. Our protagonist thinks it's a piece of cake and asks if there's more. The elder says it might look easy, but it's got to be repeated a ton. The boy asks how many times. The man replies that since it's his first time, he's got to do it at least 100,000 times, totally blowing his mind. We see the entrance of a cave, where light suddenly floods in. The bats wake up, their eyes glowing bright red. They dive at a person invading their turf, the third elder, who blasts her weapons at the creatures. She takes them out quick and precise. The black and crimson blood splatters on the ground, far from the woman's body. Checking her weapons, she realizes they need to be sharper and faster, but one question's nagging her. What's the cult leader up to now? We see our protagonist in the afternoon, grinding away and already at number 8,694 of the training. He sighs hard, totally over it. He wonders how he thought he could pull this off, cursing his older brother. In a flashback, the man warns he'll be gone from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., making our protagonist shout for him to hold up. He questions how to finish this in one day, claiming it's impossible. The elder decides to show the youngest how to do it one more time. Our protagonist thinks that's not what he meant, but the elder pulls off the move with almost supernatural speed, finishing in less than a second. He stops, wondering if the kid caught that, assuming it's something simple. If the protagonist can move like that, he should be done by night. The boy, panting, asks if the elder is some kind of genius. Besides not being practical in fights, he has one detail, a secret version about becoming the master's disciple of the bow. The long-haired disciple sees how sad it is that the protagonist thinks brute force is the answer, but seeing the effort he's putting in, he goes quiet for a moment. He pops up in front of him, saying it's super frustrating to see how he's training and orders him to actually follow the instructions. But our boy is all dramatic, claiming he's dying and tells the other not to say dumb stuff. Yet, regretfully, something makes our gunslinger's eyes go wide. Out of nowhere, a quick shot from the archer grazes the protagonist's neck, making his ketchup spill everywhere. But he just gets a tiny scratch. In a flash, he's behind the attacker, ready to throw a punch to the head. But he realizes his body acted on instinct, and he gets that if he keeps this up, no one will be able to touch him. It might look like a simple move, but once his body gets used to it, any attack becomes super predictable. He needs to stop stressing over pointless stuff, like using brute force, or it could cost him big time. The disciple says goodbye, feeling bummed about having to teach something so basic to someone like him. The next morning, our protagonist hits 22,021 reps. His older brother rolls up, watching him train. He sees the boy is totally wiped out and realizes he hasn't hit that 100,000 reps goal yet. Gasping, the gunslinger shouts that it's impossible for a human to do this. He drops to the ground, determined to keep going, saying the old man can do whatever he wants. The elder praises the boy's hustle, but he shoots back that he's not done yet. Actually, the training is all about testing the youngest's mental strength. The biggest lesson is the willpower to never back down. With that, even a drop of water can split a rock. In the end, the elder sees the mental toughness the newcomer has built and feels proud. The protagonist listens quietly, soaking in the comfort of those words. The man notices that the protagonist's body is still too small to handle his technique, which confuses him. He explains that the body isn't used to channeling internal energy, which is key in martial arts. The giant tells the boy to sit in the lotus position. At that moment, he'll unlock all the protagonist's energy channels, a painful process he has to endure in silence. Chill, the protagonist asks him to explain what's about to go down. But suddenly the pain hits him out of nowhere. Opening all the energy channels causes an agonizing scream. The bearded man tells him to hold the pose and feel the energy flow. In his mind, he thinks about how fragile the protagonist's body is, wondering how he's still alive. Sometime later, as the pain starts to fade, the protagonist's veins bulge as impurities get kicked out. He feels a warm energy in his belly, called danjun. Now they're going to train the body's will and toughen the mind. The elder tosses a book in front of him, packed with techniques to get the energy flowing right. Then, he throws a precious elixir to nourish his foundations. Catching the awful smell, the protagonist asks what it is, and the old man warns that the most brutal part of his life is about to kick off. If he doesn't quit, he'll make sure the boy becomes someone totally different. The elder asks if he's ready for the lessons. With a confident grin, the boy says that even if he gets crushed and destroyed, he'll keep pushing to get stronger. A few days later, the fifth elder shows up, worried about the protagonist being alone with the giant. The chubby one thinks everything will be fine since they know him well. The blonde chimes in that the leader is strong, calming the redhead a bit. The green-haired disciple clears the dirt while watching the transport roll in. The horse yawns, and the fifth elder hops out, calling for his brother. He asks the disciple where the cult leader is. A bit tense, the man replies that he's probably at the waterfall, a few kilometers away. The redhead bolts off so fast that the ground shakes. At the waterfall, our protagonist is grinding hard. When the fifth elder arrives, he shouts that he finally found him. But seeing the scene, his eyes go wide, wondering what's going on. He feels a strange energy coming from the leader, glowing with a steaming blue, like pure flames. The new protagonist steps out of his retreat. The elder, surprised, widens his eyes. He's super stoked about the master's new vibe. Suddenly, the blonde and the chubby one show up to see what's happening. The strong gunslinger steps up confidently, adjusting his coat to hide the demon tattoo, realizing everyone's here. The blonde girl blushes at the new look. Kim comments that it's been a minute since they last saw each other, and we notice he looks uglier than ever. The story takes us to Clan Hao, where a man questions whether the dude in front of him really helped the protagonist's crew, since he didn't resist the threats. The subordinate admits he messed up and offers himself as a loyal dog if he gets spared. The seated dude realizes the cult is racking up enemies all over the country. If this keeps up, there's going to be a reason to take out the leader. No sweat. Back to the protagonist's training, where the redhead spots something. Noticing the blonde is vibing with his brother, he feels a bit down, but then gets asked why he rolled in solo. The leader told him to grab some strong fighters to back him up. The fifth elder says it's totally understandable to have doubts. We flash back to him stepping into the Ronin Association's hall. There he shows off the mark of the god of the bow, looking for some serious mercenaries. The receptionist asks why he needs them. Feeling a bit intimidated, the redhead snaps back, asking why he should explain, and the guy, looking scared, says it's just protocol. He lets him know they can request mercenaries, but the redhead insists that would take forever. Yelling that his leader is out there all alone in a sketchy spot, he needs to get this done fast. The fourth elder realizes the dude in front of him is his brother, but thinks he's a total goof for thinking that way. The muscle-bound guy then asks for paper and pen. He starts scribbling something that we'll see later. He tells them to stick the message on the job board. The subordinate grumbles while obeying, saying he should be avoiding this kind of work. On the paper, it says anyone stronger than the cult leader can challenge him, with some silly jabs that make the paper giggle. This is the fifth elder's plan, but he ends up getting slapped in the face, making blood spill. The protagonist realizes this wild card is just bringing more chaos for others to deal with. But he thinks this could be a win, since he's trained hard and now it's time to flex his strength. A bit later, the older brother asks if he's heading back to the cult, mentioning they've been chilling there for a hot minute. The old dude says if the youngest needs some muscle, just send a message, and he'll swoop in, even if it's a huge mess. To seal the deal, he hands over his little disciple to tag along with the protagonist for a bit. Time to level up outside. He's learned a ton from his mentor, but now he needs to figure out life solo. The long-haired guy warns the protagonist not to get too full of himself, since he didn't want to go, but he gets smacked with a solid punch to the head, making his teeth rattle. A few days later, people roll up to the spot, chatting about the rumors of the wrecked cult and wondering where this confidence is coming from. The mustache dude claims it's the perfect moment for his brother to show off his skills, and the other says it's time to unleash the power of the black dragon. Suddenly, someone bumps into his shoulder, getting on his nerves. He turns around, glaring at the bold one with pure rage. The ugly giant asks who dared to call him out. In front of the Mongu clan, a crowd gathers to see the real strength of the cult leader. The bald first elder wonders what his master did to pull in so many fighters. With a shout, the fifth elder announces the protagonist's arrival. The previous dude sees his chance and decides to make a solid impression. He strides up to the leader, saying he doesn't know where he came from, but he'll have to fight for that title in a battle to the death. The gunslinger, however, just slaps the guy hard in the face. He wonders who this fool thinks he is, talking to him without a care. Then, the ugly one tells everyone to listen up. Those who lose will join the Mongu cult and pledge loyalty to him. But if someone manages to take him down in a fair fight, the protagonist will hand over his leader title to the victor. Before that, respect in the fight is a must. So whoever wins gets a shot at the leader, and the first battle kicks off between a fat bald dude and our muscle-bound hero. The redhead, Chill, says they're newcomers and will let the bald guy throw the first punch. Irritated, the bald dude plans to knock some sense into the redhead's thick skull. But when he sees the punch coming, the elder's eyes go wide. He lands a brutal punch right on the bald guy's face. Confused, the bald dude wonders what just happened. He thought he was supposed to attack first. But the redhead quickly says there are no rules in a fight. The protagonist laughs, seeing that his friend really picked up some skills. After the win, the redhead, all confident, orders them to move on to the next fight. Another dude goes down with just one punch. A third one goes down fast with an attack just like the last. And another match wraps up with a killer kick. Out of nowhere, someone raises their hand, claiming they've got an issue since there are no rules about fighting just him. This dude wants a duel with the archer chillin' next to the cult leader. The long-haired archer grins, totally ready for the showdown. He starts to mess with the brother's disciple, who's all fired up to show what he's got. Before long, both are in the arena, hyped for the duel. The guy says it's impossible to shoot with that much confidence in this space, claiming he's taking the disciple's spot today. The archer quickly fires back that if he doesn't attack, he'll take charge of the whole thing. The fighter's kinda shocked to see his opponent's got 3 arrows ready to go. He wonders if more arrows will actually change the game. But when he shoots, the arrows zoom straight at him. Watching closely, the swordsman realizes those arrows are moving like they've got a mind of their own. He ends up getting tagged right in the chest. Soon, the long-haired dude asks who's next to step up and fight him. We hear a familiar laugh saying it's wild to see them here, since he showed up as a last resort to keep things fair. Taking the cult leader's spot and wrapping up this drama seems like the best move. That way, he can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The archer says if the old man isn't planning to fight, he should bounce. If a fight's what he wants, he tells him to attack already. But our boy says that's not needed, since he's found someone to test his new skills. This time, the gunslinger, uglier than ever, is ready to take on the whole battle. Our boy says they met sooner than he thought. Then, he starts brainstorming what to call the old man in front of him. He ends up dubbing him impotent castrated eunuch. The other guys around are confused about how he ended up like this, but one of them jokes it could be due to certain fruits. Quickly, the long-haired archer says if he really wants a fight, he should step up and face him. The old man laughs, realizing these fools have no manners, probably raised by wolves. 2 guys get mad, telling him to wait his turn, since there's no girl here who wants her first time with him. In a serious tone, the old man says wherever he goes, he always finds dogs barking loudly. The 2 guys get offended and call him old until they realize their bodies have been sliced in half by the elder's blade. Everyone watching is stunned as blood rains down from the sky. The man says finally these people have quieted down, and soon our protagonist calls him out, telling him not to get mad at others for no reason. He tells him to come at him to settle their beef. The disciple tries to say he should show his strength first to his master's brother, and our protagonist agrees. But the other dude better check his back before finishing that sentence. With his simple bow, the archer blocks the elder's sword strike. The impact is so strong it sends him flying into the building next door. From the cloud of smoke, he fires 3 arrows at the swordsman. He slices through all the projectiles still in the air, ending the fight. The disciple claims he gets why the old man became sterile and impotent, since he dared to sneak attack him. But the man says even sneak attacks are a skill, impressing the archer with his speed. With a horizontal strike, the old man counters the attack. The green-haired disciple goes flying again, hitting the ground hard and creating a shockwave. He realizes the elder from the Kunlun sect is seriously strong, and our protagonist admits he can't win. He tells him to head inside since now he'll be the old man's opponent, making the elder laugh as he challenges him. The old man says he already knows all of the protagonist's tricks, claiming they won't work again. Our boy replies that might be true, but they'll see if all that training has changed anything. We flash back to the past, where the older brother says no matter how much he studies, he can't figure out how the weapon works, but he believes it has huge potential to be expanded, just like his bow. He decides to show how to pull off a normal attack. He fires an arrow that zips at insane speed, and it hits a tree, making it fall in one shot. He announces that with just this level, he'd already have enough power to take down a tree. Our protagonist is totally vibing with how chill that statement is. Then the other dude drops a bomb, saying if he can channel his inner energy, stored in his dungeon with the bow and arrow, he'll pull off something mind-blowing. The urge to shoot is so wild it sends our boy flying back. The arrow zips out at insane speed, almost like a cannon blast, smacking the target and causing a massive explosion, like a ton of TNT. The elder chimes in, saying this is a whole new level he can hit by channeling his energy. From now on, he's all in on teaching this method and asks if he's ready to roll. With a grin, our protagonist locks onto those words. Glancing at his phone, it's clear he's already crushed the mission of becoming the disciple of the god of the bow. proving that no matter how tough it looks, he's got this on lock. The elder notes the vibe is totally different but wonders what'll happen if he can't hit a moving target. So, the elder gears up to launch a final attack on our protagonist. Out of nowhere, something freaks him out. Our dude has already backed off and says that wasn't the only upgrade. He tells him to try and deflect the next attack he's about to unleash. Then, he fires his weapon, sending the projectile flying at lightning speed. But the man thinks this attack is weak sauce and plans to slice it with his sword. Yelling, he claims he'll block it and then take him out. But then he's hit with a shock. Last time, our protagonist was like a lost lamb, but now he's a raging bull charging at him, like a demon on a mission. In a flash, the bullet slams into him, unleashing a massive wave of energy, sending him flying back from the hit. The fifth elder knew our protagonist had leveled up, but he didn't expect him to get this strong so fast. He starts coughing up ketchup from the damage and realizes he can't move, saying he needs to get up quick to grab his sword, which flew out of his grip. Our protagonist steps up, asking if he didn't say he could block with ease. The man, letting out a heavy sigh, claims his opponent must have pulled some trick since he's never heard of martial arts like that. Our protagonist feels a different kind of frustration, but doesn't feel sorry for the old man. From the jump, he knew there was no way he was losing. With one last chuckle, he declares he's the main character in this story. Suddenly, someone yells for him to stop and think twice. Taking this guy out now will spark a massive war with the whole Murim alliance. Sweating bullets, the elder agrees, saying if he doesn't act, there'll be crazy consequences. With a chill expression, the young man asks what they're rambling about. After all, the war's already kicked off. But behind him, the old man is gearing up to take the boy out in one shot. You can see the results of Kim's training by checking out his smoking weapon. He states that the moment that jerk stepped onto his turf, the end was already written. With a serious look, the man remembers he's never seen martial arts like this. So, he wraps it up by saying this is the most powerful and brutal technique among all primates in this world. Looking at the old man's body on the ground, Kim names his martial art as weapon technique. Then, he thinks that the dead can't talk anymore. Glancing at the other mercenaries, he tells them to start moving, asking if they want a rundown on how his weapon technique works. But his weapon cracks as he tells them not to be shy and promises to go easy from now on. After that threat, all the mercenaries start sweating bullets from what they've just witnessed. One of the guys thinks that if he can't be the leader, he won't mind being just dirt under the cult leader's nail, swearing loyalty to him. The leader then orders all the losers around him to put their heads down. The giant blonde questions who he's calling a loser, getting even angrier at the guy who was mocking him. Suddenly, our protagonist strides up and slaps him hard across the face. Confused, the guy can only hear the question about what he's staring at. The protagonist says he should kneel if he wants to talk to him. The others around realize the mess they've gotten into and start kneeling before the protagonist, pledging total loyalty to him. From the top of the stairs, Kim gives a shout out to everyone, saying they've been picked as the ultimate warriors to join his crew. With a grin, he drops the bomb that they're about to make history by taking over the martial arts scene. But hey, he's not forcing anyone. If someone wants to bounce, they can. But if he catches you, well, let's just say it's game over, and that hits hard for the guys in the room. With his hand on his chin, he realizes he needs a commander for the squad and starts thinking about who's got the chops for it. Before long, he decides the long-haired archer is the one for the job. The disciple pipes up, saying he's about to dip, and the protagonist reassures him he'll always be remembered as his older brother's disciple. The mustached dude watches this unfold, feeling bummed that he won't get his moment to shine. The blonde next to him chimes in, saying buttering up the leader won't change a thing. With a wild look, he declares that from now on, they're gonna do some seriously wild stuff together. Then, they hear the protagonist needs a vice commander and picks the mustached guy, who's totally caught off guard. The muscle-bound blonde realizes he's in a tight spot and, turning to the guy who threatened him, figures he's in deep trouble now. The shortest one, meanwhile, spits right in the face of the dude who dared to mess with the vice leader. A bit later, the second elder announces that now that he's taken out one of the heads of the Kunlun clan, it won't be long before the martial arts alliance gets wind of it. The protagonist glances at the redhead and asks if he found what he was looking for. The other nods, saying he scoped out the area and that the elder came solo. The gunslinger says that's solid, since they won't have to deal with any future headaches, and orders the body to be burned, which his subordinate totally gets. The second elder tries to call out to the protagonist, saying that, no matter what, this is way beyond what's decent. The boy questions if the bearded man really wants all his subordinates to bite the dust fighting alongside him. He explains that decency is about looking out for those under your wing, and the second elder seems to finally get it. Soon the boy figures the elder knew exactly where to find them, and thinks someone must have spilled the tea. The fifth elder suggests there's only one person who could know the cult leader's identity. The protagonist cracks his neck, remembering the only dude who saw his face for ages, the manager of the Hao clan, who's now wondering why he's been summoned. Quick as a flash, this skinny guy gets a direct punch to the mouth, sending ketchup flying everywhere. Kim asks the guy in front of him what their deal is, and the answer is, they're supposedly friends. But in his head, he's thinking he's not a punching bag and can't just roll with it. Our protagonist believes friends should have each other's backs, but his ally seems to have flipped the script for his own gain. Determined to show what real friendship means, he makes the guy scream in despair, claiming his family's been kidnapped and he won't let that slide again. With his arms crossed, our protagonist wonders what to do, since a traitor doesn't deserve trust. But if this dude gets a shot, he promises to be the loyal dog of the cult leader. Hearing the man barking, our protagonist questions if he really enjoys this kind of drama. Suddenly, someone shows up, asking whose barking they heard. After confirming it's from the manager of the place, Lady of the Moon, known as Jin Wool, steps in. Our protagonist wonders if she's really the leader and what she's doing there. With a serious vibe, he listens as she says, if there was any mix-up between the manager and him, she'll offer a sincere apology and wants to chat privately with the gunslinger. Sitting down, she admits she broke the protagonist's trust. He fires back that he almost faced some serious losses because of this, and she gets it but emphasizes that the contract only benefits him, not both. She questions if they should take responsibility for the mistakes he made. Kim knows this is true, since he never planned to repay the manager's favors. The woman warns that she's not here to question the leader like that. Getting closer, she reveals she has a huge favor to ask of the boy. If he can pull this off, she'll guarantee the world he dreams of. Curious, he asks what it's all about. She mentions she heard his dream is to take over the martial arts world, but with the current vibes, that's a no-go. Confused, he asks what she means, and she breaks it down, saying that in his current state, it's just not happening. But with her backing him up, she promises to make that dream a reality, and it'll be a wild ride. But there's a twist to her request, one that's risky and could mess with some serious stuff, like the lives of his crew and the cult. If he goes for it and pulls it off, she'll hook him up somehow. The protagonist is left wide-eyed, trying to process all this. The woman steps in close, and the manager feels the tension turning a bit romantic. With her face just inches away, she insists that no matter what, she'll do everything to help him conquer the martial world. This unexpected closeness makes the protagonist's cheeks flush. The manager, feeling a bit annoyed, realizes he's backed away from his beloved master. The woman asks how he's feeling and if he's ready to handle this. Still blushing, the protagonist tells her to hang on, because with his life on the line, he needs to know what's up. She says it's simple and spills that she wants to find her younger sister, who went off on a quest to the mysterious Beast Palace. This request is basically an order to get info for some powerful folks. The place is super isolated, making it tough to get the scoop. Rumor has it, the palace peeps vibe with all kinds of animals. Everyone knows this because the beings there, along with the animals, don't play nice with newcomers. Many sects have tried to befriend this palace, but all who dared to step foot there ended up meeting the same fate, death, for messing with a forbidden zone. Curious, our protagonist asks how she had the guts to send her sister to such a wild place. The woman replies that she had no choice, since those asking for the info were tied to the Martial Alliance. She tried to say no, but the pressure was so intense they even torched her house to get what they wanted. After hearing all this, the gunslinger goes quiet, feeling that kind of pain. Back at the cult, he says he'll meet the Moon Master's sister the next day. The second elder tries to talk him out of it, reminding him that this place has been off the radar for the martial arts world. Even the usually chill first elder warns about the dangers of a mission like this. Our protagonist, deep in thought, asks the opinion of a third elder who just rolled in after her retreat. She seems the same, but her vibe is almost ghostly. Not even the redhead feels any hostility from her, wondering how her leader pulled off such a chill aura. With a smile, the woman is stoked to see him again, noticing he's changed a bit during his time away. Affectionately, the boy asks what she thinks about the whole situation. She says her take isn't much different from the other elders, but she gets the Moon Master's feelings. Everyone's lost important family members because of the Martial Alliance, and they know that pain. That's why she wants to help the Lord of the Moon with this tough mission. The second elder tries to warn about the palace's dangers, but he gets cut off by the protagonist. He says that those who love animals can't be all bad. The bald man then chimes in, reminding him that even nature lovers can be shady. Suddenly, the gunslinger slaps the bald man across the face, saying there will always be those who embrace their dark sides. The bald man thinks the protagonist is the biggest jerk he's ever met. A bit later, we see our protagonist chilling in bed with his little dog, feeling bummed about not having time to play. He says he'll need to head out again and asks if his buddy can hang tight a little longer without him. The little dog, looking sad, shows he misses his owner. With a smile, the protagonist reassures him, promising to bring back a ton of goodies, and tells him to play a bit. He watches as the puppy happily dashes out, realizing that having the little guy is a total blessing. Later, the protagonist's crew is trekking toward the location. He looks worn out and wonders if they really have to walk this much. The third elder explains that this is why no one goes to the palace, since they can't even think about taking a carriage, which would be way too obvious. The redhead feels the air heating up as they climb, which is kinda weird. Meanwhile, the fat guy collapses, begging to be put out of his misery, unable to handle the exhausting trek. Suddenly, the fifth elder spots something that totally grabs his attention. It's a river that can refresh them, and our protagonist asks the cult leader if they can chill for a bit before moving on. He's already accepted and dives headfirst into the water, eyes wide open. Showing off his bod, he says he can breathe easy now that he's feeling fresh. The third elder blushes, realizing the gunslinger's physique is one of his best features. Out of nowhere, someone calls her, saying the water is awesome and she should jump in. Everyone's claiming they're a family, and our protagonist insists she should get in to dodge a headache from the heat. The woman gets it and agrees to join, leaving most of her clothes behind. We can see the third elder has a well-endowed figure, even at her age. A rustle in the trees catches her eye, looking like a blur. She widens her eyes and looks that way, daggers ready, alerting everyone about possible danger. Our protagonist, confused, watches as a small injured fox limps toward him. The laughing men claim they caught the animal, saying it's just a dumb beast. The little fox flops at the protagonist's feet, trusting him with its life. He remembers his past as an assassin when he found his beloved puppy, Mongu. One of the men says they shouldn't mess with the prey since they worked hard to catch it. Our protagonist asks what they plan to do with such a fragile creature. The men say they'll cook or sell it, but that doesn't sit right with the protagonist. One of them tries to grab the fox, telling the boy to worry about himself. Suddenly, our protagonist yanks the man's hair, gearing up for an attack. He delivers a knee strike to the head of the one who dared to mess with the animal. With a fierce look, he asks what they'll do if he doesn't want to care for himself, but for the little fox instead. Seeing their leader attacked, the others rush in, but he stays calm, just watching. Suddenly, his eyes widen, ready to spring into action. A flurry of punches takes down everyone at once, no sweat. After the chaos, the newcomers try to chat with our boy. He finds out the Martial Alliance ordered the capture of the fox, but wonders why they want such a tiny creature. A fat stack of cash was offered, which made them jump at the chance. Irritated, our protagonist realizes they took the job without knowing the plan. He chills out and says they should bounce from there fast. A guy asks if they can keep the fox since they spent months catching it. The protagonist, glancing at the little creature, says that might be fair. But then he remembers something, and the man thanks him. Quickly, he gets a kick in the face from our buddy Kim, who says he forgot to teach those guys a lesson so they never pull this again. Night falls, and everyone has a chill dinner. Our boy watches the little creature and asks if it's normal for her to be so tired, and if she's hurt bad. The third elder replies there's no need to stress, as she's already done basic treatments that will help the little one wake up later. But the girl warns that tomorrow they'll enter enemy territory, so it's better to be on guard from then on. The boy mentions they don't have much info about the sister of the Moonlord and asks how they plan to find her. The third elder says they'll gradually move into the area to scope out the deeper parts. The redhead wraps up by saying he'll go with his sister to map things out, letting the protagonist come in later. But then, the boy notices something sketchy. The fat man is just munching away instead of fighting, and questions if he has any reason for that. The man looks sad, feeling like an overweight dude who can only defend himself, without causing any damage. Suddenly, everyone hears footsteps approaching, grabbing their attention. It's an animal with huge, monstrous paws, which turns out to be just a regular wolf. However, the fifth elder notes that this creature is bigger than any he's ever seen. The elders insist they'll handle this and protect the cult leader no matter what, but the boy says they don't need to freak out. He assures just by looking that it's a lost animal and there are no signs of evil vibes. The redhead, sweating bullets, says the situation seems sketchy and they should head back fast. Noticing this, the boy says he has a special job for someone, the fourth elder, who will take care of the lost animal. But the fat dude thinks the animal isn't lost, but is ready to pounce. Shaking like a leaf, he tries to get the cult leader to see that the creature is just hungry. But the main guy insists it's just a lost animal, and if he shows some real vibes, the creature will get it. The fat dude decides to roll with the leader's words and slowly reaches out his hand. He calls the wolf a good boy and promises he won't hurt him. The creature, looking chill, comes closer and starts sniffing the fat dude's hand. The elder cracks up, realizing the leader was spot on, and admits he should have thought twice before judging. But out of nowhere, the massive creature bites down on the fat dude's head in one swift move. Things get wild, and it starts tossing the fourth elder around like a rag doll. Kim, watching all this go down, realizes he might have been wrong about it being a lost animal. Suddenly, at the camp, The little fox wakes up and yawns. She hops onto the main guy's shoulder, trusting him more than anyone. Noticing the movement, the giant creature stops shaking the fourth elder. It howls at the moon, summoning some mysterious fire vibes. The others guarding the cult leader say things just got serious, and they need to bounce ASAP, but the boy whispers he's seen enough and tells them to chill. Then he says it's just a goofy creature that hasn't been trained yet. The woman tries to jump in, but her brother stops her. He says they gotta trust the leader, cause he knows what's up. The boy steps in front of the giant creature and asks it to come closer, being all friendly. But when he sees the creature isn't listening, he decides to get a bit tougher. Calling the wolf Nabi, Kim tells it to sit, pointing his weapon at the creature. The monster lunges with its claw toward the boy, ready to attack. Noticing this, the main guy gets ready to shoot, while the little fox beside him keeps an eye on the creature. Then, something wild happens, leaving the elders totally shook. The gunslinger, all smiles and unharmed, tells them to take a good look. Turns out, real sincerity actually works in moments like this. Petting the belly of the massive beast, he calls the wolf a good boy, and the redhead quickly comes over. The third elder realizes it wasn't sincerity that stopped the attack aimed at the leader. The creature suddenly freezes, as if it spotted something special in the fox. It felt, for a moment, an unexplainable vibe coming from the little animal. With a genuine smile, he says there are no truly evil animals. Then, he jokes that the wolf probably thought the fourth elder was a wild boar. The fat dude feels bummed, realizing this is all on him. Soon, our main guy asks his buddy to grab his sister's stuff, which he's sure he'll do. With a cloth in hand, the boy asks if the wolf can sniff out some familiar incense. Right away, the wolf starts walking in one direction, and our main guy realizes they're being led. But the woman says before they move, something needs to be handled. They've been spotted and got some unwanted guests. With a serious look, she gets ready to attack, jumping from tree to tree with mad skills, like a ninja. She positions herself under the moonlight and launches a bunch of projectiles that hit the heads of the surrounding foes. Calmly, the maiden lands on the ground, while her enemies drop like flies. Our boy realizes her training has really paid off. But way too many unwanted dudes have shown up. With a confident grin, he says the number might be cute, but wonders what they'll do against his weapon. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echo behind him, and the redhead calls the cult leader to check it out. Annoyed by being called, he's shocked to see the massive shadow. In this world, even elephants with aura are used to scare people. Watching the scene, our main guy can only look up, surprised, and comments that bringing an elephant is a bit much. The dude on top of the creature says this stranger has stepped into the territory of the Beast Palace. With a powerful vibe, he asks what business they have stomping around his land like this. Arrogantly, our main guy says his throat is hurting and tells the man to come over and chat. Noticing the disrespect, the brute gets ready. With a massive leap, he soars into the air. With Hunter's eyes, he says the protagonist will soon get it. He adds, it's a shame he's committing such blasphemy in his presence. But when he lands, his foot twists, and he gets hurt. Falling down, the newcomer lets out some grunts of pain. Watching the ridiculous scene, our main guy wonders what kind of idiot is in front of him. Getting up, the man figures that, based on his build, he must be a martial artist. Sure, here's the improved text while keeping the same line breaks and structure. Then, he wonders if he's really that clueless to be here. Our main dude says he's just hunting for a girl and will bounce afterward, not even caring if the guy spills any tea. The primitive dude claims the trip was pointless, since no outsider would dare step foot in their turf. Our boy shoots back that he doesn't buy it and needs to see things for himself to be convinced. The primitive sighs, pulling out his weapon and realizing he's in a bit of a pickle. Saying he'll have to throw down with our protagonist, everyone around him gets ready for a showdown. That's the only way they know how to respond to someone who dared to crash their party. The third elder realizes that fighting a bunch of enemies will just cause chaos, so it's smarter to dip for now, and she tries to convince the protagonist to bounce and regroup later. Soon, the fourth elder backs up his sister, saying this is their best shot. But our protagonist insists that running isn't an option. In his past life's dictionary, that word didn't even exist. If you bail on this place, you'll be a total joke in the martial arts world. The chubby guy quickly says that's just embarrassing, but our protagonist cuts him off, asking what the fifth elder thinks. The redhead chimes in that no matter where he goes, he's sticking to his leader's orders. Behind them, the chubby guy grumbles, calling the whole idea ridiculous. Threateningly, our protagonist asks what was just said, and the elder replies that these guys really need a wake-up call. The primitive wonders if they've had enough time to gear up and asks if they should kick things off. Soon, our boy says they can come at any moment, but they gotta keep one thing in mind. One of the guys jumps in, calling him trash and saying they shouldn't sleep on the Beast Palace. Our protagonist fires off a thunderous shot that rattles the primitives. The guy isn't hit and goes quiet. Our hero declares that was the first and last warning he'll give. He says anyone looking for trouble should step up. We can see that the protagonist's weapon is cracking from the insane energy he's unleashing. The long-haired dude realizes this kid is no joke, since they couldn't even see his type of attack. This power was so wild, it even shattered an ancient tree with one shot. If they let this martial artist get any closer, their arrogance could cost them everything. Suddenly, he spots something that grabs his attention. Telling everyone to chill, he asks why the shadow fox is hanging with our hero. The protagonist says he helped the little one and isn't about to ditch her now. The man says he's not your average martial artist and wonders how he got picked by such a creature. Soon, he'll make it a point to officially invite him to be a guest at the Palace of Beasts. Sometime later, we see our hero's crew being led to the spot. Looking around, our protagonist notices there aren't as many animals as he thought there'd be. He asks if they're almost there, and the answer is that they've already arrived. Our protagonist's eyes go wide when they're welcomed. This is the Palace of Beasts of Naman. The little fox, looking nervous, crawls into the protagonist's clothes, leaving just its head poking out. The man says the shadow fox usually rolls solo, which is why it's rare to see one, but it seems to vibe with the boy already. Then, he says he gets it, but has one serious question. He wonders why he feels so many eyes on him all of a sudden. The man replies that it's rare to see a shadow fox, and they're all curious why he's there. Suddenly, our protagonist looks up, confused by the wild sight above him. A tiger is soaring through the sky. The creature lands carrying a giant on its back. The dude is super strong, and the tiger looks increasingly ready to pounce on our protagonist. This is Samusik, the lord who protects the Palace of Beasts. Watching, our protagonist wonders how someone can be that massive and feels bad for the animal with him. The man, on the other hand, calms his huge cat with a gentle pat on the head. Approaching our protagonist, he says he's the first person he's seen the shadow fox trust enough to open up. With a big grin, the bald man says our protagonist is totally worthy of staying at the Palace of Beasts, if he wants. Seeing the little creature up close really makes him question how something so tiny can be so adorable. He heard from his crew that he's looking for a girl, but honestly, he says they're the only newcomers around. Our protagonist is down for any help they can offer to find the girl. If they can't, he'll just call on his trusty wolf, Nabi, to sniff out the woman's scent. One of the guys throws out that the girl might have vanished near a spot where some sketchy folks hang out. That makes sense, but it leaves our hero scratching his head. He explains there's another crew near the Palace of Beasts that doesn't take kindly to any resistance. This crew has a seriously messed up tradition, even by Palace of Beasts standards. They chow down on anyone who gets too close. They think munching on humans helps them soak up all that vital energy. He's got a hunch that the woman he's searching for might have been snagged by them and wonders what kind of crazies are lurking there. Out of nowhere, his phone buzzes with a message saying that world domination in the martial realm is a tough gig. A secret mission pops up: wipe out this tribe completely, or face some serious consequences. This is a total mystery for our hero, but seeing that message makes him shake with anger and go pale. If he flops, his beloved pup is going to get sick. Annoyed, he demands to know where these people are so he can take them out. Gripping his weapon, he vows to hunt them down and serve them up to the animals for a feast. But then he hears a weird noise coming from his weapon. It's falling apart right then and there. The giant cracks up and says they're doing him a solid, thanking him. Our boy, on the other hand, is freaking out, realizing this isn't a nightmare, it's the real deal. The elder steps up, introducing himself as the Lord of the Palace of Beasts, and makes a big announcement. Our hero tries to cut in, asking for a second, but the dude keeps going. He says those who sorted their issues are now chilling with him, and they're throwing a massive food and drink festival. Our protagonist, dead serious, just starts hurling curses into the air. After a bit, everyone's totally wasted, losing their minds. Meanwhile, our boy, who hasn't touched a drop, is stomping his foot like he's trying to start a mini earthquake. He messed everything up and wonders why he didn't think of this sooner, since the weapons are super weak. If he channels his internal energy, he could totally break through any metal limits. The third elder asks if something's bugging her master. She says he looks off, and our boy tells her to chill and mind her own business. She gets it, but he keeps stomping like he's got ants in his pants. The fourth elder rolls in and asks if the protagonist is really okay. He laughs, saying he looks bummed, like he lost his secret weapon, but our hero punches him right in the nose. He questions if he really showed that vibe and insists he can still pull out his trump card. Looking at the handle, he realizes it's way more useful than he thought. Suddenly, the giant shows up and asks why the protagonist is so deep in thought. He suggests they check out a spot with a killer view and that they should go together. When they get there, they find themselves on a cliff, where the sky is shining brighter than a TikTok filter. The bearded man asks what the protagonist thinks, and he says it's super beautiful. But he's still feeling down, catching the older dude's attention, who says his mind seems to be racing. He then asks if the tribe they'll face later is the same. But the answer is no. The giant continues, saying the martial world doesn't really care about them in the end. He explains that the rumors actually point to this specific group, which isn't linked to the Beast Palace. Sure, they have a way of welcoming outsiders, but they're not as brutal as others. There's a clear difference in how they treat newcomers. If a stranger steps into their turf, they're toast, no questions asked. But the groups do share some similarities in looks, clothes, and lifestyle, which gets confusing. If this keeps spreading, one day the village might get torched out of fear of martial artists. Our boy says these people are the worst and asks why they haven't sorted this out yet. The older man replies that it's not as simple as our hero thinks. In the district, there are tons of smaller tribes around. He tried to warn about the issues, but only managed to score a temporary peace. That's why he's worried that if they attack, the other tribes will freak out about retaliation from the leftovers. No matter how the old man sees it, he always wanted to bring peace to everyone around him. When the protagonist offered to help resolve the problem, he felt both grateful and scared. Kim, hearing this, goes quiet for a bit. Then he stands up, saying he'll handle the situation, but it's not going to be free. If he ever needs a favor, no matter what, he's got to come through for them. He asks if that's a solid deal, and the answer is yes, obviously. The gunslinger says he'll bounce first, and that's when the little fox finally shows up. The muscular dude questions if the fox was chillin' with the protagonist the whole time and says there's no need to hide it. But the boy didn't even know his furry buddy was tucked away in his clothes. He asks why everyone's freaking out over the fox, and the older guy decides to break it down. He says the Beast Palace was built because of the shadow fox. Back in the day, it was chaos, with lives lost every single day. That all changed when the first ancestor of the palace showed up, bringing peace and a new vibe. But there was a secret player. The ancestor of the shadow fox was right there with him. The real deal is that the fox isn't just a pet, it's the legendary sword. It can split seas and slice the land in half. Hearing this, our protagonist is shook to realize he's got such a legendary creature with him. The man hasn't seen the legend himself, but he believes the stories must be true. Looking at his little buddy, he wonders if she really is the legendary sword. Then he asks the elder how to transform her, but the old dude isn't sure. He says if he vibes with the shadow fox, she'll turn into a sword based on his will. The next day, the palace is chill. Our boy wonders what's up with everyone at that moment. He asks if the fox knows how hard he's been trying to send telepathic messages, and then wonders if her only charm is being adorable. The giant rolls in and asks if he's still trying to get cozy with the little creature. He says the protagonist has a bunch of friends, but questions how to level up the bond with the animal. He tries to remember if the boy has any special connection with a pet, and our boy flashes back to when he brought his puppy home for the first time. Then, he wonders if the little guy in front of him has a name. Our man tries calling the puppy a bunch of nicknames, and if any stick, awesome. After a few tries, the puppy finally perks up at the name Mongu, which becomes his official title. The protagonist realizes the pup is totally into this choice. Then, he thinks about giving a powerful name to his new pet. He considers calling her AK-47, but the little fox looks bummed, and he notices she's not feeling it. He throws out other weapon names, but none hit the mark, and he concludes they're all terrible. He decides to look for something special about the fox to name her. Observing, he realizes she's super cute and decides to call her Princess. Suddenly, the animal leaps onto him, clearly loving the name. Stoked, the protagonist feels he's bonded with the little creature and says now that they're tight, she should help him whenever she can. Then, a bright glow bursts from the small creature, catching both of them off guard. The protagonist realizes it's the legendary sword he was hoping for. Standing still, he just watches, wondering if it's the legendary sword of Shadow Judgment. As he holds it, he feels a surge of power rising within him and realizes he can slice through anything. With a fierce look, he asks the man if this is the right weapon, feeling an intense urge to fight. The old man, spooked, goes quiet, sensing the sword's presence. Later, he admits he wasn't sure if he should react this way, finding everything kinda scary. Soon, the bald dude realizes they're lost and decides to lean on one of his guys. This is his youngest son, who'll tag along and give them direct backup. His sword skills are insane, and the boy's name is Samurai, making the protagonist wonder if he's for real. The elder warns them not to underestimate the enemies, who are pros at hunting humans. No one knows what tricks they might pull to trap and devour them. The boy, Chill, says he's already used to this, so there's no need to stress. Plus, he's got major backup. His little friend, the legendary sword, which he can now wield like a boss. The group moves through the woods, and the boy asks if they're almost there. Looking ahead, he sees they're totally exposed, easy pickings. The gunslinger readies his weapon and fires in their direction. The blade slams into the guy's food basin and stops at a tree way off in the distance. The boy laughs, saying they're dumb for munching on humans when the sun's shining bright. Grossed out, he wonders if human meat is actually tasty for these heartless losers. But one dude insists the food is just beef. Everyone's shook and the protagonist chimes in that it doesn't really matter. Eating a cow is still messed up, especially when they didn't think about the calves. Samurai realizes the protagonist actually cares about animals, which is kinda sweet. The skinny guy swears he's not lying and dares him to at least give it a shot. The meat looks shiny but super sketchy. The fourth elder doesn't catch on and digs in like it's a 5-star meal. The protagonist notices the fat guy is loving it, acting like it's a feast fit for a king. He decides to take a tiny bite to see if it's worth the hype. As he takes a nibble, he feels something wild on his taste buds. And bam, he realizes it's crazy delicious no matter how he tries to spin it. But then he wonders if those cannibal tribes are even supposed to be around. The long-haired dude doesn't get it and asks why he's curious. Our boy says he's trying to track them down to end this madness with a sword among the bodies. The guy claims he knows where the tribe hangs out and suggests a path, but our boy wants the details. But the dude, totally playing him, says the path is where they are. Kim isn't surprised and just stares at him, totally blank. The guy, in a wild mood, lunges at him with an axe, but our protagonist, quick on his feet, dodges the swing like a pro. He warns not to underestimate him just because he's not packing heat. Then, he makes a slice that splits the dude in half. He brags about being a black belt in swords, which is why he's a beast in combat. Soon, he thanks them for saving the time they would have wasted tracking them down. He decides to repay the favor with a quick but painful exit. The elder lands smoothly on the ground. With a single spin, she launches hundreds of blades that wipe out the enemies around her. One of the guys says they should hold him down since he can't use any weapons, but the redhead jumps in and warns not to hug him. Only his little bro gets that privilege. With a massive stomp, the redhead crashes down on the guy with serious force. Our protagonist realizes these dudes are so weak they're not even worth the effort. But glancing to the side, he spots something from the fourth elder. He sees 2 of them there, and the fat guy confirms he sees the same thing. Our video ends here. If you liked it, leave your like. See you next time. Bye-bye.